Blog Talk Radio.
Here we go with the main event of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us around the world. It's time for the bout you've all been waiting for. Finally, it is showtime.
Here, man, we dedicate our lives to this sport. We do thousands of sit-ups in camp. We run hundreds of miles, for the ones that take it serious. And we just dedicate ourselves fully to our craft, man. We watch tape. We have attitude. We rooting, and we go into that fight. It's to lay it on the line.
Boxing fans, this is the Rope-A-Dope Radio Podcast. I am your host, Chris Carlson. We are live on a Tuesday night. More of a West Coast style show tonight. Got a little backtracked, got a little sidetracked, I should say. Had to backtrack. And here I am. All right, so it won't be a 3-hour show, or at least I don't think it will be. You never know. I've said that before. And I remember somebody actually talked to me on Twitter real quick. It was like, hey, the first thing I saw is you said this wasn't going to be a 3-hour show, and then you saw that it was a 3-hour show. That was pretty funny. Anyway, so we got a variety of things to talk about from last weekend. We will get into it. Just a brief recap segment. ESPN Plus, DAZN had plenty of stuff, plenty of action. Obviously, Frampton was in action, got a win. Oscar Valdez was in some problems in that fight. Putin and Budiev fought. Tate got upset by Casemiro. A variety of things that happened last weekend. Nothing really stood out as, oh my God, it can't miss, but still a pretty entertaining weekend of fights, especially on what you would say a down weekend or whatever. So we'll definitely have, like I said, a short to the point recap segment. And of course, we got to preview and predict the rematch between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz Jr. I mean, I can see this thing going a couple of ways. Sure, they both could get knocked out. It's the heavyweight division. They both hit the canvas last time. There's always that. But I really think it's either going to go the distance and, Joshua stays on his feet, or it could look a lot like the other fight once it heats up. But, yeah, there's both guys seem to be in better shape. Maybe not better shape for Joshua. He's just leaned out quite a lot. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't on the move for a good chunk of the fight. I'd be very surprised, actually. But you never know. Maybe just in general he doesn't want to get gassed from throwing that many punches hard. He got gassed in certain fights that we've seen, or he's been gassed, I should say. Even that Klitschko fight, Klitschko is a good finisher when it's like put on a platter for him, although it kind of felt like that was. But, he always needed Emmanuel Stewart to be like, all right, dude, you got the jab. Throw the right hand and end this thing. And usually when he'd start throwing it, it would be over. But there was about 2.5 rounds where Anthony Joshua was really tired from a short stint of hard punching, and maybe that plays into it, maybe having to move the whole fight. A lot of people think that that's like a chicken way to fight. They will call you all sorts of names, but as we know, if you really know, it's very tiring. It's very tiring. And so we'll see if he could do that the whole time. We haven't seen him be on the outside the whole fight. We haven't seen him fight on the inside for a whole fight, although he probably spent too much time on the inside. He's more of a mid-range guy, as we know. That's where he can really get, especially if you're not a guy that's going to move and you're not going to be on the inside, closing the gap, getting your head in his chest. It's going to be tough on you if that's how you're going to fight Anthony Joshua, where you're somewhere in range. He's at mid-range. He can establish his jab, and then he can put his combination punches together. He's a very accurate puncher, but not something I'd say like this great inside fighter. You know what I mean? I definitely don't see that. We have been getting some warnings from Blog Talk as far as the call-in number. I do see some people on. Doesn't seem like they're having problems with it. But, just keep that in mind. Try to call back. The number is to dial is 646-381-4990. That's 646-381-4990. Like I said, there was a little message. They actually gave you a different call-in number. I was already calling in the normal call-in number, and then I saw the message, which I got all the way into the switchboard. So it seems like everything's good. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully people call in. I believe it's, there's been some issues, but now that it's 10 o'clock my time, Central Time, hopefully Blog Talk is not as busy. Sometimes that is the issue. I know Sunday night shows that, talked to a fair amount of hosts over the years, but the last chunk of years, Sunday night shows for boxing is just rough because there's so many people on it. But there is some news that we'll get to as well. Bob Arum recently talked about taking a certain amount of fights, events that he has planned, that normally a lot of them are planned to go on in the States. He's losing money at the gate in the States, so he's going to take them overseas. We already talked about, Jose Ramirez and Victor Postol happening in China. There's been a couple other. There's been South Africa mentioned. Basically, a lot of these countries that are trying to, make it seem like it's, kind of like Saudi Arabia, right, in China, making it seem like it's a propaganda tool. And so it is what it is, making it seem like, hey, man, you can come here and nothing can happen. It's tourism. Come on over, that type of thing, trying to sugarcoat it, I guess. You know what I mean? Obviously, a lot of countries have their own issues. We have our own issues here in our country, but some of the countries we mentioned are on a different level when it comes to the added corruption and beheadings and all that type of thing. But I'm not going to get too deep into that. But it's a good idea if you're losing money. Why not make money? As far as building ticket sellers here, that makes it more difficult. When Top Rank, Bob Arum, land this deal, he obviously was overzealous. He was saying some stuff like, "Oh, this is gonna be better than the '80s" and all that. So I knew some of it was just, hyperbole. Like, just kind of like, come on, dude, this is it's not gonna be that good. But I did think that the exposure would help when it comes to ticket sales and growth and just in general. And this year they've had a rough time trying to sell tickets. Some of that is just, they don't have many ticket sellers, and some of it is they don't have someone like a Lomachenko or a Crawford outside of Nebraska or a Ramirez outside of Fresno. They need opponents to be able to put them in New York and put them in bigger venues so then they can build that. That's what was so great about the Barclays the last chunk of years. Now Porter can go there and draw a decent crowd. Certain, matchups that you wouldn't think would do a decent crowd, they do a decent crowd, do a decent gate. Some of them do bigger ones, obviously. And some of that had to do with PBC and Showtime stacking those cards too. Sometimes the co-feature would be the best fight of the night. So, you can have the top-tier talent, which they obviously do. Adding Inoue, obviously Lomachenko, Crawford. But if you don't have people to fight them on average, it's tough to grow that brand. So I get it because the bottom line's hurting, but ultimately a lot of the talk from the media based off what this top-ranked ESPN deal was supposed to do, it wasn't, hey, let's go overseas with our fights. But it makes sense, too. You know what I mean? I understand certain times I understand guys like a Manny Pacquiao, when Australia paid for him to come there, literally came out of their federal budget in a sense, right? The tourism thing. I get that part of it. I get that Saudi Arabia is going to put up huge money. A couple of years back, you did see Bob Arum when he wasn't able to book as many fights that would do really well at the MGM Grand. He would rip the MGM Grand, and he'd talk about Macau and how, that's the place to be. And now you look at Macau is not as strong as it was or was saying it was going to be because, they've kind of cracked down on gambling there as well to an extent. So there's a variety of things that we'll get into. The WBA is a horrible, sanctioning belt, of course. But every once in a while they put together a decent fight. I think they did. I'll mention that. It's at welterweight. Errol Spence came out with a message saying, talking about his return, and we will, by the way, preview the rest of the weekend. Charlo, Hogan, Eubank Jr., and Korobov, which I'm actually very excited for that fight. It's Eubank Jr. and Korobov. That's a good fight, and I believe the winner will fight Charlo unless Hogan pulls off the big upset. Talk a little bit about that DAZN doc. I think it's like 40. I think it's about 40 minutes, 38 minutes. That one night is pretty good. A couple other fights that they've been talking about too. One of them is at featherweight, and they're closing in on a deal to take place in the spring or early summer. I'll tell you all about it. I mean, I'm really excited about that fight. And then, we had a holiday weekend, obviously, right? And that delayed the pay-per-view numbers as far as the normal pay-per-view. You could say leak. You could say sources, whatever the hell, Either way, Thanksgiving, did kind of clog that up. But it's funny because ever since then, since it didn't come out Monday, like all of the pay-per-view sources come out Monday or something. But anyway, there has been just crazy, no surprise, crazy speculation about the Wilder Ortiz pay-per-view numbers. And some of it is just downright frivolous. Talk about a misinformation. I mean, we've seen this year with these pay-per-views for the PBC, every one of them has done better than the so-called experts or media people talk about what they're going to do. And even part-time media and people that work inside the industry, not as media, but just whether you're a sponsor or you work at Everlast or whatever you do, management, promoter, whatever. I mean, they've been wrong. They've been wrong every time. And, they've been just terrorizing no matter what fight it is, they'll just rip it apart. And they'll act like it's shit fights on paper. And that's cool. That's a prerogative, whatever. You can have your own, like I said, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but they weren't telling you how to spend your money before the PBC started doing pay-per-views, though. That's what I see is funny. We're now citing, now numerous pay-per-views, we're citing the rival promoter and getting numbers from him, Bob Arum. And once it's out there, I'm not saying I heard him talk about stuff on the Boxing Voice with Bob, with Ness and Bob Arum. And I'm not saying once he's given the numbers, I think he gave the numbers to Woodsy. He said that they did 200 to 250,000, whatever. He also said that the Porter and Spence did way less than what was reported. My whole point is I just don't remember rival promoters as a source for the number that you're going to tweet. That's what Woodsy did. And I love me some Woodsy for a long time, don't get me wrong, but I've challenged him on Twitter a couple times. I mean, he gave a buyer beware warning because Thurman could maybe try to be on the outside and have a snooze fest. And generally, when he has the lead, he'll have a snooze fest late in the fight. But a buyer beware because he didn't want anybody to come back on his Twitter machine and be like, man, that fight sucked. That was boring. Well, I told you so. Like, he's done a couple questionable things, and he at least mentioned the fact that there's a rival promoter issue there, whereas he didn't last time. But still, I just don't remember getting the numbers from Bob Arum from other pay-per-views. And I also don't remember the fake news slogan out there when it came to the sources that reported him. You know, only on the big – when they want to brag to you, like HBO and Showtime, when they do 1.4 or 2.2 or the huge numbers, when they want to brag to you, they used to release the numbers. And they were correct because under HBO, you're publicly traded with Time Warner at the time, right? So you had to tell the public the truth if you were going to release it. I remember HBO got to the point where they weren't going to release it anymore, and same with Espinoza with Showtime. He said, you know what, unless they break records, we're not going to release it. So I just never, out of all these years, and I keep saying the last 10 years of pay-per-view, just to kind of give you a feel of what the media was talking about, what the fans were talking about. But I don't remember multiple media members calling out or questioning sources on pay-per-views. Now, they could say, well, I heard this. My numbers are here. My numbers are higher. My numbers are lower, whatever the case may be. But now they just turned it into, well, just a big guessing game anyway. Well, why were you reporting it somewhat legitimately before, and now it's fake news? Well, we know why, because it's BBC. But some of the stuff, I mean, someone ran with the number 2,500. Many of folks said under 100,000, and I'm not just talking about fans. I'll give you the Rick Glazer report, which we obviously know that dude's full of shit. He has been for a long time. It's just funny. It's really funny, and it really stands out as like, really, dude? But I mean, did really 2,500? Is that really a number that you'd put out there? And I'm not saying Glazer did. It was a rumor that he did. He went on the Boxing Voice, and that he cleared that up. By the way, just in general, I've talked about the Boxing Voice a bunch. You know, Ness and I, we have a bond from way back in this stuff, and we don't talk a lot, but we'll text each other randomly, and he's just good shit. I'm good shit to him. We're just good shit. We've had conversations. Right now, go over and you know, watch the interviews, dude. They've been on fire. I mean, they've obviously – he's the hardest working dude out there on the media side, and they've been putting out these – you know, I used to say daily shows. There are some podcasts that say, oh, we're the only daily show out there. You're out of your mind if you think that. It used to be just daily with the Boxing Voice, but they do multiple shows sometimes in a day. So make sure you go support them. Go watch a video. Go share a link, go like a video, whatever the hell. Just go check out the Boxing Voice right now. They've had a nice run, man. They had Porter on there. So I even saw some people saying, "Oh, Wilder's not with the LBC as much anymore. Now he goes on the Boxing Voice." Dude, he's been going on the Boxing Voice for quite some time. They've been embedded in this camp, and they've gone, done numerous long interviews. But anyway, shouts out to Ness. I just wanted to get that out there. So there's a variety of news to go along with all the prediction stuff and all that good stuff. And like I said, the number to dial is 646-381-4990. Hopefully, that will allow it. Somebody text me if you are having issues with that. By the way, before we get into recap, if this is your first time listening to the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast, it streams live right on blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio. Okay, so it streams live. It archives. It's basically the headquarters. However, you don't have to just go to Blog Talk, to listen to it. You can go to Apple Podcasts. In fact, if you rate and review the show there, I really appreciate that. For whatever reason, I haven't said that much, and I should be saying that more. Player FM, Spreaker, Stitcher, really all over the place. Part of the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network as well. That's on iHeartRadio. You can find both platforms on Spotify. In fact, you can use your Siri or Alexa through Spotify or TuneIn to find the shows. While you're at it, head on over to thegruelingtruth.net. That's thegruelingtruth.net. It's boxing, it's football, it's basketball, it's baseball, it's everything in between. They got a great sponsor over there, betnow.eu with the promo code TGT. And one more thing before we get into this review and preview and predictions and news and all that good stuff. If you're thinking about cutting the cord, or maybe you have cut it, you just feel like you need a small cable package, affordable. I think I got something you may want to take a gander at. I personally do it as well. It's called AT&T TV Now, all right? It's streaming cable. You do have the 7-day free trial. 7-day free trial, no annual contracts. But the plans start as low as $50 a month, HBO included. You can stream it anywhere. They have the cloud DVR. That's AT&T TV Now. And it's only $11 for Showtime, just so you know. Boxing fans, although, you know, a lot of people would say that they're done, that they're not going to have. Well, they have boxing this. I actually like their card this weekend somewhat. But anyway, that about wraps that up. Let's get to the fight, shall we? So, with the Frampton fight, it seems like Frampton is going to be matched with Jamel Herring. That's what it looks like. Herring dwarfs him, by the way. But we know that Leo Santa Cruz, I guess, length-wise dwarfed him too. Pretty short guy, but that could be interesting. Frampton, he didn't have much of a problem. I mean, he may have lost a round, maybe two. You know, he started out with his jab, landed about 3 or 4 nice right hands. He was attacking the body really well, a lot of times early and late in rounds. Really more of the same. Hard right hand started coming out more. By the 5th round, you did get a little two-way stuff on the inside, but clearly Frampton was landing the better shots. He landed a combination to the body, hard combination, and it forced McGregory to take a knee. So he got knocked down in that round. 8th round more. 7th and 8th round, Frampton just taking it over. Another knockdown left hand, I believe, to the body midway through the 9th round. That was another 10-8 round. And you did start to see McGregor. I got to look at that. McCreary. He started putting pressure on Frampton down the stretch. I gave him the last round. Maybe you can give him one more. That's about it. All 3 scores, 100-88. And Frampton, it seems like he's going to challenge Herring for the belt. That's an interesting fight. Good fight. Happy for Herring. We'll have him on before the show or before his event. And hopefully he gets that, man, because Burchell was talking a gang of stuff. And then all of a sudden he wanted to fight somebody else. He didn't want. Now he wants to fight Oscar Valdez. Speaking of Oscar Valdez, his opponent, what was it, Gutierrez? Oh my God, dude. Gutierrez was. I talk about overweight. Was it 11 pounds overweight? Is that what I remember reading? 11 pounds. That is just despicable. I mean, we have this type of stuff go on a lot more than it used to back in the day. People missing weight. And sometimes when you get through a whole weigh-in event, you're like, all right, man, sweet, finally. They made weight. Wow, this is something else. You kind of think it's like a cool deal almost when it shouldn't be. But, dude, I mean, 11 pounds? I think Bob Arum was talking about we're going to kick him out of we're kicking him out. We're going to kick him out of the hotel. I'm pretty sure the hotel. They were kicking him out of the hotel. I'm almost positive there's a quote out there him saying that. But, I mean, jeez, that was just despicable. I mean, come on, dude. You can't make weight like that. You're that far off? My God. Here it says, we're throwing him out of the hotel. He said 2 or 3 pounds, that's unprofessional, but 11 pounds is a fucking disgrace. I've never seen anything like that. Oscar Valdez trained his ass off. 11 pounds is a joke. So Gutierrez was off it. Move in Adam Lopez, who was on the undercard. So that worked out nicely. And I thought he started out pretty damn well, obviously. I mean, not just the second round, first round too. You know, I thought he was controlling everything with his jab, and he landed a nice right hand. I gave him the first round. You know, Valdez went to the body a little bit, but that was about it. Then a jab mostly until I think it was a right and a left hand. I think it was a left hook that caused the knockdown. Next thing you know, Valdez is on his ass. We've seen him, you know, beat up in fights that he won. We've seen him on the ground. He's not a defensive fighter whatsoever. And at 130, I don't know. I'm not sure if, you know, once he started stepping up mildly to top level, you know, competition at 126, he really showed a lot of flaws. And he never, in my opinion, fought a top-tier guy. The only guy I'd say is top tier, I think he moved up from 122, you know. So that was Scott Quick, and that was a war. So I don't know if 130 is going to work out well for him. That if they match him up with Berchelto, that's going to be a hell of a fight, fun fight to watch. But I did think Valdez got his shit together. He started pressuring more, and just throwing better punches. Kind of mixing it to the head and body in the third and fourth. I gave him both those rounds. I thought the flush shots to the head and body in the fifth were Lopez, though. Lopez was pumping his jab. It was scoring pretty well in the sixth as well. But then the seventh round came around. Lopez came out, jabs to the head, to the chest, kind of into the gut. He was doing that really well. But Valdez started landing some really nice body shots. He landed a left hook to the body and then a looping right hand that caused the knockdown. Then it was like a flurry of pretty decent shots. It's not like he was going nuts. Well, he was going nuts, but he wasn't landing a ton. Then I think after like a flush hook, it was called a TKO. They stopped the fight. And I don't know, Adam Lopez was starting to show some signs of getting beat up pretty good. I think it was stopped too early. In fact, he did get hit with some shots, but like I said, when he got flurried on after that knockdown, I didn't think that Valdez was landing that good shots, but he did land that hook. And you could actually see Lopez pivoted off the ropes and seeing game still. So, you know, when we've had 3 deaths here in America, I mean, deaths happen all over the world, but usually they don't happen here as much. You know, you could only go, I can't go on some huge rant on this exact category, not just the category, but this exact fight, because I understand that he did take some big shots. He did go down. He was getting flurried on, and he did get hit with a really hard shot. Wasn't throwing much back. So, you know, it does make you think a little bit differently with the, you know, even the most recent deaths. And so, like I said, I can't go on this long-winded rant. But that said, being said that, you know, I do think he did. It was early. I think it was an early stoppage, though. I think Lopez was still in the fight, obviously on the cards. Whether he would have made it out of that round or taken more punishment, something happened to him, that's true. But I just didn't think it was a great time to stop it there. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So, also as far as recap, we had what do we got here? Oh, we had Tay-Tay. And this guy, everyone was just, there's so many people were talking about this Tay-Tay dude as if he was just the dominant force, as if he's unbeaten and blowing everybody away. Now, he had a nice little run, but Cassie Moore, or what is it, Casemiro, dude, I mean, Tay, I thought not much was happening. He landed his jab in the first round. Second round, not much happening. But Casemiro, I mean, he started attacking the head, attacking the body, then the head. And I think it was a right hand kind of on the side of the head, maybe back of the ear. Tay was really, really hurt. Like, really hurt. You had Casemiro landing some grazing shots. It took him a little while, considering how hurt Tay was, to really close him out. But a few of those grazing shots, then a couple of them got through, and that caused another knockdown. And Tay was trying to hold. He was trying to tackle. He was in bad shape. And not long after, it's TKO. It was over. It was over before it started. I gave him the opening 2 rounds, basically, Tay. But, Casemiro, that was a hell of a win for him, dude. So props to him. That was the one fight that I said, hey, watch out for that fight. Not that I was calling it upset. I'm not that type of person that says that. Oh, I called that. But I did think some shit was going to pop off, and that could be – I actually thought that might be the fight of the weekend. Now, it wasn't the fight of the weekend, but it sure was a pretty damn big deal and a nice upset, too. That's for sure. So yeah, whoa, shoot. I almost, okay, sorry. I got some messages here. This was from earlier, though. All right, cool. Sorry about that. Okay. So the switchboard seems to be working okay. Haven't had too many complaints. Like I said, there's folks on there chilling. So yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape there. Let me see here. Yeah, I think we're good to go there. That just kind of threw me off for a second getting the message. I thought I had missed a bunch and the switchboard had fallen apart, but it doesn't seem like that. Once again, the number to dial is 646-381-4990. Brick House. No, Cynthia, she actually did win too, fairly cleanly. But there was another fight. Best Putin and Budiev, 13-0. Best Putin. We'll just call him Putin. And Budiev was 12-0. So this one was another fight where you're like, okay, yeah, those are the 2 fights that stood out on paper and then in the ring too, because we had an upset with Tay getting knocked off, which a lot of people thought he was strong champion contender right there, ready to take over. And then we had Best Putin and Budiev. And, to me, this is a competitive fight. It did take a while to get going, but it had a good close. And like I said, it was a very competitive fight. The first round, really just it was a slow round. Like I said, the whole fight took a little while to get going. But I thought Budiev did enough with his jab and just a tad bit of body shots. Best Putin for most of the fight had his pivot game and movement game pretty much on point. Couple of body shots in the second round, but mostly jab and pivot. So I gave it to Best Putin. The third round, that could have went either way. When I first watched it, I gave it to Budiev, but I definitely put some question marks up there. There was a couple of rounds like that. 6th round was like that too. But then the 4th round, more jabs, more movement, making it tough for Budiev to land clean. I gave that to Best Putin. So it's about 2-2, maybe 3-1, maybe 2-2, something like that. After 4, Budiev, I thought the chopping right hands and uppercuts landed pretty clean in the 5th round. 6th round, you had Best Putin doing decent work on the outside, but then the pressure and some of the body work from Budiev, you could have maybe favored that. It was a close round, the 6th round. 7th round, 8th round, I did think Best Putin started to separate himself. He'd land single shots or like quick combinations, and then he'd be out. He was just landing more, just a tad busier. I gave Budiev the 9th. I thought he started to kind of make a late rally. I think he stole that round. And this is when it started heating up. They both were like shoe shining on each other too. Putin, I think he got it looked like the cut was best Putin. I just called him Putin. I'm just gonna call him Putin. Actually, I'm good on that. Best Putin we'll go with. I couldn't. It looked like the blood was coming from his eye, but I think it was the bridge of his nose. But I gave him that round based off of like pot shots, like sticking and moving, and a decent pot shot from time to time. The 11th round, once again, this is the third round where I put a question mark. This was really, it was a close round. I did give it to best Putin. I thought the jab and pivot, it's basically like rinse and repeat. The jab and pivot, time to time, a quick combo, shoe shine stuff. That's basically what best Putin was doing the whole time. Budiev did win the last round. He was landing hooks to the head and body. He brought that pressure. Whereas best Putin was on the move most of the time. He did they both got busy late. Like I said, with that, I think they both shoe-shined each other. Good competitive fight, though. I did give best Putin the win. I gave it like 7-5, 8-4, maybe 7-4-1. I think the least I could go is 6-6, though. I don't really see any way that 7 rounds in the books for Budiev. That's just my opinion. 7-5 I'm cool with. 7-4-1, 8-4 tops. All three judges had it 8-4, 116, 112. Like I said, maybe 6-5-1, something like that. I'm okay with that too. Whatever. I did think best Putin won. And that about wraps it up for the last weekend recap as far as what I'm going to cover. There was more stuff out there, but, I'm only going to go so deep into it. Speaking of best Putin, though, the WBA just ordered a fight. And best Putin, I believe, he's a top-ranked fighter, I believe. And they just ordered Ugas, Yordenis Ugas, who's had a nice run back, had a really close fight with Sean Porter. Some people thought he'd get enough to win. Very close fight, but he lost 3 a couple years back, and he had been on a run, either on short notice fill-in or he just kept going up the ranks. And I really hope this fight gets made. I could see it. We talked about how the PBC and Top Rank Wilder Fury 2, that pay-per-view. We talked about how they're trying to build a PBC Top Rank undercard too, which would be dope as fuck, right? And maybe this best Putin and Ugas will be put on that. I could also see it being like a co-feature or maybe the feature on an FS1 card. Maybe even here, like Jamal James was in the running for the WBA, So I could see him going against Jamal James going against Bryant Perella, who's had a nice little streak, and he's fought actually at the Armory in Minneapolis. They're the first, and this is not just a source. This is from, it's not sources I can't tell. It's basically from the promoter and the events coordination person at the Armory and the event promoter. It sounds like February is the first Armory card. I'm assuming most of them will be FS1s. Maybe we'll get another Fox. Maybe there will be a Showtime. I don't know. But I could see Perella, the good fella Perella, and Jamal James fight. And that'd be a good fight. 2 rangy, long dudes. Perella can box. He's got power. But that'd be kind of interesting. And then best Putin and Ugas. That'd be a nice little doubleheader. Winner fights each other. That'd be pretty dope. But it'd be cool if they put that on the undercard as well. To make it a PBC top rank. We'll see. But I like that fight. That's a good mid-level fight. I'm not counting the WBA as like, oh, dude, they need to go in with Crawford. Crawford next, dude. Unify. That's not a unification. You know what I mean? But he also got the belt. They just came up with the belt because, remember Thurman had the super WBA, whatever, and then there's a regular and then whatever the fuck, right? But they had both belts, the WBA, Pacquiao and Thurman. So they put them together. Well, if they put them together, you know that they're gonna bring up another one. So this was a vacant belt. That's why they put a mandatory behind it right away. They generally do that for vacant belts. It's like, all right, you got the belt, but we gotta have you fight somebody now. We gotta make sure it's somebody. So that would be a good fight. Stylistically, I could see it being kind of awkward. Although Ugas, when he fights this level, and I'm not ripping on Best Putin, but I don't look at him as a top 6 or 7 welterweight. When he's fought the just that second tier below the top guys, he has been more aggressive. We've seen that out of Ugas. When he fought a guy like Porter, who was on the move way more than we all would have thought, including him, right? He's not as good as coming forward like that. I think he was being a little too careful not to get countered or whatever and fall for the trap. He probably felt like he's winning the fight too. I don't know, but that's just a good fight. It's a good mid-level fight. It's one of those fights that just could be really competitive. It could build kind of like his last fight. It wasn't a great fight for a little bit. Then all of a sudden it was. It was a good one. So yeah, that's just a tad bit of news. Nothing too crazy there. But that's I think that's pretty interesting actually. I kind of like that. I do want to see how that shakes out. You know what I mean? I think that's just like I said, an interesting, just a solid fight. There's not. I mean, this year was like the mid-level fights for a while until the bigger fights started being made. But hey, man, mid-level fights, nothing wrong with them, dude. Nothing wrong with them. Bring them on, dude. That's what I say. I love the mid-level fight, man. We need more of it, and they tend to be really good fights too. Like they can be really damn good fights. So, just something to think about out there. I think it's a good fight. Good undercard fight, good co-feature on a Jamal James card or whatever. Who knows? Maybe it'll be on Top Rank. Maybe it'll be on ESPN. It's not like it may go to purse bid. Who knows? You really never know. I guess you could technically say maybe Best Putin would be promise the Crawford fight, so he drops the belt potentially. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not. I don't know. Maybe, but yeah. I just think it's a good fight. It's an interesting fight. There is a variety of news before we get into Ruiz and Joshua, the rematch. Hunter and Povetkin on the undercard. There is some undercard fights that we'll get into. We'll also get into that Charlo Hogan and Eubank Jr. Korobov fight card that's on Showtime. Yes, Showtime is still in business for the foreseeable future. They do have a contract signed. We'll see if that is not bought out. You still have plenty of folks, thinking Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum were correct in, saying that they're going to be out of business, basically. Which, I mean, the way this year in general, it did remind me of 2015, in that first year of the PBC. So maybe they're getting Floyd. Maybe they're getting Floyd and Pacquiao, and Espinosa's like, oh yeah, cool, man. Well, guess what? I got a moneymaker here. So go fuck yourselves. I don't really know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Not really sure. I'm not quite sure how that'll, pan out. But no, we just wait and see. The writing's on the wall sometimes. Sometimes it's not. We've documented that it does feel like it is, but we also said that they have a deal. And it's been pretty adamant about Espinoza has about them doing business in 2020. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they put out like a schedule. I'm assuming the PBC with Fox is going to do the same thing. It'd be nice for them to be able to do that. That is something, even though John Skipper, the head of DAZN here, or one of the head, the main dude here, especially for the United States, but in general, he even said that, he actually said that, the fight schedule, this has never been done before, this big fight schedule. And it's like, well, Showtime did it a couple times, and in fact, Fox just did it. But that's part of him, being new to the business. He admitted it, which is kind of cool, actually. He gives a pretty good interview, too, as far as detail and straight up. Like, he admitted they didn't want to double the price. They didn't want to spend all that money on $9.99 and then turn right around and double the price. He fully admitted that was a problem. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that stuff pans out. I did rewatch the fight, the AJ and Ruiz fight, just again. I mean, I saw it a handful of times after it happened, obviously, right? But I hadn't seen it in quite a long time. And I made sure I watched it, took some notes on it again, just to kind of refresh myself and go over some items and stuff like that. So I will do that in the preview. And, what will be different? Obviously the look of these fighters, I think that's well documented. That will be different. We'll see if AJ, Anthony Joshua, if he can be, I'm not going to say perfect. It's not like you're dealing like with a fighter like Wilder in the power, but can he hold up defensively? It's one thing to move the whole time, which is really tough, but can your defense on the move stay? He doesn't have good defense, period. That's not a surprise or like some kind of new information. He doesn't have good defense. But sometimes your feet can be, especially at heavyweight, but just in general, sometimes your feet can be your best defense. Well, I believe they're going to have to. Be, man. It's intriguing on so many levels, and there is a mental side to this. I've talked about it here and there, but mentally, I just don't know exactly where he's at. He's saying one thing, saying the other. He's coming out saying, you got to kiss my feet if I win. Then they say, hey, what's up with that, dude? I thought now you want all this credit for this? He's like, well, no, I mean, I don't need credit, but I just need credit. He's just kind of double talking. And some of the things that I just don't know. I think mentally, I don't think he's in a good spot. I try not to look too deep into interviews, especially like at press conferences and HBO 24/7, the gloves are off, all this hype stuff. I try to kind of steer, not necessarily clear of it because I watch some of it, but I realize that it's for the casual fan, a lot of the shoulder programming. And so I try not to get caught up into it. But there are times where a fighter says stuff so many, just like either outrageous or way out of character or whatever the case may be. And there's just red flags sometimes. And I think there's a fair amount of red or at least yellow flags right now going on with him. He's playing it off like he's cool, everything is good on one part of the interview. And then the next part, and then I don't know, sometimes he'll try to be like, well, no, they just took a clip out of that. It's like, no, what you said was what you said, dude. No, I think they just took a clip, man. I mean, I think you need a fuck you attitude, but I don't have a fuck you attitude, but you need it. Like he just keeps saying shit so back and forth that it does kind of reek. And, for those who watch Game of Thrones, reek. But anyway, it does reek of he's not right mentally. We've heard these rumors now he's getting messed up at sparring. I don't know what to believe. It does. He did admit that he's had hard sparring. Pause. He's had he basically says that his sparring partners have been pushing him. And he doesn't have great defense. So maybe he is getting hit a time or two too many. I'm not going to sit there and say that the guy got knocked out in a sparring session or that type of thing. I don't believe he got knocked out in a sparring session the first time around because it wasn't like that money was earmarked for him from DAZN anyway. So they could have pushed it back. I just think with a commodity like him, I understand that promoters are greedy and managers are greedy and networks are greedy. I get all that. I just don't think there's dumb and then there's plumb dumb. You know what I mean? And I don't think they would be that dumb at that time. The undefeated dude who's creating all those gates, creating all that pay-per-view revenue, and potentially becoming a bigger star here. And I just don't think they'd risk it. Maybe I'm being naive with that, but it just doesn't really line up. Now, did he have some mental issues coming in? I don't know. Was there more than just the him changing his undergarment, his protector? I just called it undergarment, just for the fun of it. Don't do anything to me, AJ fans. To me, it could have been just something simple. What I do know is he came in the ring extra chill, like this is a walk in the park. I've been here before, that type of thing. So I am going to play some clips and read, a little bit of quotes to you just to kind of, get a shape of what I'm talking about. A lot of people have already heard these clips as well, so I won't spend too much time on it, but I don't know, man. Like I said, I try not to take too much out of this stuff, but when a fighter keeps saying stuff, it just, a lot, especially in this situation, you know what I mean? It just, like I said, it stinks to the high heavens of this guy's not right mentally. And I don't know, man. There's just something about it. The guy's got skill. He's a really solid offensive fighter. But I don't know, man. I don't know. There's just something about it that I don't know, man. It's just rubbing me the wrong. I don't know. I hate to say it that vague, but I don't know, man. It's hard. I've been on the fence on this one. I'll admit. I always admit if I'm on the fence or this or that. I've been on the fence for this, and I have been leaning Ruiz. And some of it just has to do with, Anthony Joshua and what he believes he's going to be able to do or what he's going to try to do. And I understand why he wants to stay away and move a lot more. And I think it was smart to lose weight but not just because you got to move. He never should have put that much weight on, in general. There's no point in getting that big. And I know he built himself up to Klitschko, and I remember him saying they wanted that extra weight, to take those punches. But as far as weight, though, there is going to be you can see it in his body, pause. You really can. I think it will be, low 240s, maybe under 240. I don't know. Whereas Ruiz is just in better shape. He's just more put together. He's not going to have abs. He's actually not going to lose a bunch of weight. It's just the weight he has. It's just put together more. He's just in better shape because he had a full camp. A lot of people were saying, he's out there splurging money and partying, and some of it was on the 4th of July in the summer. Some of it was on his birthday. Like, no way. The guy went and bought a house. Jesus Christ, what's he doing? Like, that's a bad investment or something. Yeah, he bought some cars. These dudes get hit in the head a lot. Let him buy a car or two. Like, I'm not going to go too deep in there. Now, if we would have seen these videos on a Saturday night during camp, him, buzzed on Instagram Live or whatever, okay, now we're talking. But he looks to be in good shape. He looks very confident coming in this one. He looks very confident. So I'm going to break down some of this stuff here a little bit deeper. I know Carcino. I'm not sure if Carcino's going to be able to make it. I know that his grandmother passed, and rest in peace to his grandmother. I'm not sure if he's going to make it in. We'll see. But like I said, rest in peace to his grandmother. I know it, meant a lot to him. She meant a lot to him, and so I'm sure he's dealing with that a lot. So I'm not sure if he's going to make it in. I do believe 310 will make it in. It definitely will shut down the show with Portland per usual, unless he's busy or something potentially. I don't know. Maybe he's busy too. Who knows? But anyway, as far as some other items, some other news items out there, I mentioned Bob Arum earlier in his plan to start taking more fights overseas. And, he said he's getting killed at the gate here. Even some of his bigger, names aren't really creating much a gate, He said we're lucky if we average 200,000 on some of these. So this is what he said. So and this is from The Athletic. Each of Top Rank's 30 main stops for ESPN. I thought it was 36, but I guess I'm wrong. ESPN and ESPN Plus together. They basically said that the result is a cost of $500,000 to $700,000 for talent, accommodations, travel, arena rent, blah blah blah. And he said after looking at the live game, maybe if we're lucky, we average 200,000. But, you go overseas, and if they're giving you $1.5 million or $2 million to do an event, that swings everything around from a negative because the fighters' costs remain the same. When we go to China, you get an X, amount of money. They comp all the rooms and the travel instead of being an upside of $500,000, plus that and more. So basically, it's like, we were talking about China. He's going to China. And with Ramirez, this guy who is a solid ticket seller, not a crazy ticket seller, but solid. They do well in Fresno because they price the tickets well. But he's going to take him to China. They talked about in South America. Saudi Arabia, I'm sure, is involved. So he basically is saying, hey, man, there's a ton of – it's obviously oversaturated here. And you're going to have prospect shows that aren't going to draw that much unless the guy's a ticket seller or somebody on the card's a ticket seller naturally. You have mid-level fights. You have a ton of fights. Top Rank doesn't necessarily have top tier against top tier because they don't have the opponents. So it makes it tough for Loma to become this big ticket seller if he doesn't have guys to fight that you put them together and that's an event. That's kind of how you build it, obviously. So I can understand, that. Now, obviously, it goes kind of in contrast to how he hyped this ESPN deal, and how he said the exposure would be crazy, and of course, some of the stuff he's a promoter, so he's saying, it's gonna be better than the '80s, which obviously was not going to be the case. The landscape's totally different. We don't even need to go into that, but it does fly in the face of some of the stuff he mentioned when doing this deal with ESPN and the exposure. And Most of their good fights are on ESPN Plus, but he's running a business, and so it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Staying with this theme right now, Josh Warrington and Shakur Stevenson are close to finishing up a deal, finalizing a deal for an April or May fight in the UK. That's a great fight. Warrington, a come-forward fighter, brings it. You look at his knockout ratio and you go, doesn't really seem like he packs a punch still. He's got pop. He's got heart. He's got endurance. The dude is really come on these last year or two. Got some big wins recently. Shakur Stevenson coming off a nice step-up fight, but this is a whole different ball game for him. Now, Warrington, like I said, he's got pop. He doesn't have a lot of power. So that probably allows Top Rank to be like, now this is a risk worth it, and it's going to build his brand in the UK as well, Stevenson. And obviously this would be a big coup and a big win for Warrington if he beat an American coming over there. That was in the Olympics and all that. You know what I mean? So it'll be a really big fight in the UK. So that, man, I hope they get that done. Oh, my God, I hope they get that done. I did watch an interesting documentary on DAZN that one night. It's got Tyson. It's got Stallone. It's got a variety of folks talking. Sometimes it's a little too much talking. Like Strahan. I understand why Strahan's on there, but he was talking about Andy Ruiz like no one in the world on the planet had heard of him. And it was kind of like, come on, dude. Like, come on, man. We don't necessarily need to go to Strahan for this, but I did like it. I liked the setting. I liked some of the, how they'd have the voiceovers over the footage a lot of times. And I think it was really well done, especially once they got into the fight and broke it down. It's on there right now. You don't have to have DAZN to get it. You can get it on YouTube. It's got a bunch of views on there. It's pretty good, and it's short too. It's only like 38 minutes, so something to talk about there. There will be a couple more items. Errol Spence put out a message saying summer 2020 he's returning. And something that you can't break what you can't break down what you can't break. I forgot what the hell he said. I got it right here though, so don't you worry. And Carcino, I'm about to go to you in just a second. Here we go. He hinted that he could return to the ring summer 2020 following his October crash. He said you can't break down what can't be broken. Which is better to say than I'm a savage. You know what I mean? I think it's a little better to say that. Oh, I forgot to mention this. What the hell? Casemiro. He is now a WBO bantamweight title holder, right? He knocked out Tete. He is joining Manny Pacquiao, Nonito Donaire, and Donnie Nietes, as the only Filipinos to have won 3 weight titles, titles at 3 different weights. So that's pretty cool. That is actually really cool. And Bob Arum also mentioned that he did, when he was talking, when he was talking to Al, and they met about Wilder and Fury, they actually were on the same page for a late 2020 meeting with, or not meeting, but a fight with Spence and Crawford, but something tells me that's going to get pushed back because of, the obvious things. But there are some other items I'll get to in just a little bit. The ref, Pabon? I think it's Luis Pabon, or Pabon, for the fight with Ruiz and Joshua. He allowed others, but Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko, to jab and grab his way to a lot of fights. Now, that's his style. More power to him. I'm not ripping him for it. It is what it is. But oh boy, let him do that. I remember that Povetkin fight. Pabon. This dude, this is like a perfect referee. Perfect referee for him. There are a couple items that I'll get to as well. Golden Boy having a little bit more internal issues. We're talking about that with Cancio, the other podcast. I'll give you a little bit more detail on that. And we'll talk about a variety of other stuff news-wise. But I'm going to go ahead and bring Carcino into the fold. Carcino, man, what's going on, man? How you doing, buddy? You hanging in there? That's all you can do at this point.
Yeah, it's been rough. Thanksgiving, my grandmother passed away here with all the kids and everyone here. So we've been dealing with that. I'm here with my mom now because she's staying in the house. So she came in from out of town. At least she got to, speak to my grandmother before she passed. So, it's still tough. Everybody's making the funeral arrangements and stuff. So I've been dealing with all of that. And then it's fight week also. So I'm trying to get back to normal, keep everybody else together and help out. So I'm all over the place.
Definitely not easy. That's for sure, man. That sounds like she meant a lot to you too.
Yeah, she did. That was my girl. So, yeah, I did a lot of videos with her. I was just looking at a few. I'm like, my goodness, I did a lot.
Right. Yeah, I've been looking at some
pictures
too that you've been posting too.
Yeah. But I did see that one night video, and it's amazing that you spoke on it because I was going to speak on it because I said, now, this is how you do it. I'm like, you don't have LeBron James and his buddies sitting around talking about boxing and telling people, when they did the Canelo fight with Kovalev or whatever, they sitting there with LeBron James and his guys doing the whole production thing with Canelo, and it was 10 minutes long. I'm like, they did all of this for 10 minutes. And it's just Draymond Green. Well, you got to get up. I'll be like, what kind of statement is this? I'm like, get some boxing people in here. Why am I listening to these guys? And sure enough, when they did this one night, I said, well, this is not LeBron James production. Because I see Mike Tyson, I see everybody, some boxers in there. I say, okay, now this is what the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, they've been putting Artest interviewing Artest too on the zone. It's like, dude, if he wants to talk about rebounding and shit, that's cool. But I don't need this in-depth detail, boxing. I know he's a big boxing fan, but sometimes you're like, dude, let's talk to somebody in boxing, But yeah, I agree.
Right,
it was well
and that's
done.
why I got. Strahan, Strahan, at least he does box. He goes to the gyms, he spars, he's at all the fights. I mean, all of them. He loves boxing. He's a part of it. I understand. Draymond Green having Mav Carter and all these people try to talk about the details of the psyche of a fighter. Now, that's just something I didn't need. So I'm glad they kept that out of this element, what they went into with this one. I guess they realized that wasn't working. But this one definitely worked. And I'm like, man, it's engaging. And I was really looking forward to it. And I'm like, all right, now this is interesting. Now they need to have this outside of the zone for the people they want to subscribe to it. Like you said, it's on YouTube now. And I was like, yeah, they should have had a TV spot or something on a television show advertising this so that people would go and check it out. But they're trying to get Whoa Vicky versus the Catch Me Outside girl on the zone.
You're so right, too. They literally are.
Yeah, they are. That's what they're working on. So they've been trying to keep it quiet, but that's what they They're trying to get going here. Get a social
now,
media
Draymond
fight.
wants to talk about that. Feel free, Draymond. Go ahead. You can talk about that.
Yeah,
You know,
knock
all you
yourself
want.
out about that. Yep. So now Eddie wants to mix that with real fights, but having the real fight as the headliner now. He now realizes that was kind of a bad idea to have the main event a bunch of amateurs. So he said, yeah, I gotta have the main event be a real fight. So
yeah, I'd say so.
His thing is trying to make more, people fighting and all this stuff. So it's going to be a circus for real. And they're trying to build a card out of it, get a bunch of social media people together who don't like each other to fight. So, yes, this is where we headed to now. Anything for the views. Now, going into this fight, though, this fight week, I don't know what time this fight is taking place.
All right, I got you. I'm glad that you brought this up. I got you on Central Time, too, okay? So the ring walks, which I think is going to be bullshit because they do this every fucking time. But they say 2:45 our time, 2:45 Central for those who don't know what our time is. Minneapolis, Chicago, it's Central Time, okay? Dead middle,
right.
They call it cornfield sometimes. Not Chicago, but they call it cornfield time, Central Time, right down to Texas, right? So they say 2:45. So I'm thinking anywhere from 2:45 till about 3:30. Somewhere in there is going to be the ring walk. Okay? So I think by 3:30, the shit should be popping off, the fight. Maximum. So it could be 3 o'clock. It could be 3:15. But just right around 2:45, start to get close to something.
Okay, so it's like the usual UK time for a fight. Like if you're watching
and
a
I
UK
guess
fight,
because it's over in Saudi, that they say that this is going to be, they actually are like tightening it up. You know what I mean? So they are really going to try to stick to this. So because there's been time and time again, I got to work the night shift and close, and Eddie tells me, "Oh yeah, man, it's going to be this. Here's the ring walks, and then all of a sudden you're like, they're not even out here yet. I got to go to work. You know what I mean? Or like it's the second round, I got to go to work. So I'm really thinking that I'm going to be able to see this whole fight, unless like the Fan Man Part 2, goes in the ring and there's a delay, which I don't think that'll happen because I think Fan Man will get, blown to pieces if you get that. Obviously they're not going to fuck around.
So is the card starts at 2:45 or 3 o'clock, or is the main event?
That's the main event. The card starts, I think, like 1 o'clock or something like that here. Yeah. It's not a big card. They got the heavyweights, and then it's just going to be on and popping, It's got Hunter Povetkin. I forgot the other names. I'll go over them in a second. But, yeah, so supposedly it's going to be in a decent time to where I should be able to see it. And the good thing is, hopefully, that, it's somewhere in the first quarter of that SEC championship game that the fight's already done by that time. You know what I mean? So it's not like in the thick of that game or something like that. You know what I mean? Because obviously U.S. fans can tune into that.
Well, I think that it's going to be quite interesting. I saw Ruiz. He's very confident. I think they have the right mentality on what the game plan will be for Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is going to try to use his length and try to wait to the later rounds to try to get Ruiz out, and hopefully Ruiz walks into something and try to chase him. Because he feel like, I had to fight, and then I rushed it trying to finish the guy. I didn't know him, but I know I could put him down and hurt him. So all I got to do is just continually stay back and pepper him with a jab, let him try to force the action, let him try to make a mistake. Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz, his team already knows that, and they want to, rush the pace on Joshua, just like they did in the first fight. Now, the way I analyze it is AJ is not used to using his legs and correctly in the ring. He's not a move around fighter and use his toes and all this and use the ring, especially when someone else is applying pressure. He knows what it's like to get hit. So when you know what it's like to get hit, you're going to be a little reluctant to want to get punched in the face or anything like that again. So naturally, he's not going to want to go through that again. He's going to want to go ahead and try to be more cautious. But by stepping up the pressure on Anthony Joshua, it will force him to fight at a faster pace. I noticed it in the first fight. I watched it like 2 more times this week. When he was bringing the pressure to Anthony Joshua, Joshua was trying his hardest to find the right angles, counter, and throw in combination. And when he did count him, it was the time that he tried to go for the right hand and it wasn't there, and he was able to follow up in combination. He couldn't gauge the speed all night. He had problems gauging the speed of Ruiz. That's going to be the key. If he can gauge his speed early and won't be so surprised, he might have a shot. But I think we're going to see another knockdown or possibly another knockout of Anthony Joshua. I don't think he can sustain.
Not only footwork on the outside, but we already know his defense ain't shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's holes in it because he hasn't learned how to use his jabs properly. Everything is on when it comes to his jab. It's just to set up the right hand and his counter left hook. He's a combination puncher. He's jab, right hand, left uppercut, left hook. You know, that's his whole combination. That's all you're going to get out of Anthony Joshua. He's not a body puncher. He doesn't go to the body. He's a headhunter. He had the same problem as an amateur. He drops his left hand, easy to catch him with a right. He goes to sleep sometimes in the ring, trying to follow a certain thing or waiting too long to try to find an opening. But Ruiz is the champion. He knows he can hurt you with a punch, and you know he can hurt you. Let's see how he deals with that psyche. Getting hit for the first time by Andy Ruiz. And hopefully he can survive it. Because everything's on the line now. He has no excuses now. You know who you're fighting. You're coming in the ring. Ruiz is coming in a little lighter, so he's going to be even faster now than he was before. So there's no surprise this time. You should know that the punches are going to be quick, but it's the timing of Ruiz. Ruiz has better boxing skills. He's better on his feet than Anthony Joshua. And I think he's going to catch him again. But early on, it's going to be another fill-out. He's going to try to use the jab, but he throws a pawing jab out there. And Anthony Ruiz can come over the top with the right hands, which he was doing. And he gives up his height. And that's why those right hands are landing so much, because he's bending down, you know, fighting at the level of his opponent. And he really shouldn't. He should learn to fight taller. At the end of this fight, I think Joshua will fire his trainer and realize that this is a mistake. Should not been in this ring with this trainer. But it's hard at this point to try to fix something that's broken. I think he spent too much time lifting weights instead of, you know, learning boxing tips.
Yeah, and that's what he said.
He
The reason why he's not bulked up this camp is because he got in shape before the camp, and then instead of hitting the weights even harder like he normally would be, he said he put, instead of that, the time spent doing that, he put it into learning his trade. boxing and all that. It just to totally switch up your style in one fight. I just, when has that worked? Unless you've already shown you could do the style, which obviously he hasn't.
Well, Eddie's looking at it as a bunch of money. He's seeing the money go out the window. So he's like, look, what you got to do is keep it simple. What you got to do is hit and run. You got to stick and move. That is it. That is his only way of survival, and he knows it. He's like, we need to move like this so that we can build up the rounds and we can get out of Dodge. That's his whole plan. And Eddie's hoping that they catch Ruiz with something, catch him coming in, and they can drop. That's his whole plan. They're hoping and wishing and praying that happens. So, yeah, Eddie, he loves the fact that he's going to come in lighter so he can be faster to move around the ring. It's not going to work. He's too far into his style already to try to learn something new and do something he can't control. He's not a ring general. Ruiz is. That whole fight, it was fought at the pace Ruiz wanted to fight it at. That's what people missed the entire fight, and everybody's talking about the rounds and round 3 and all that. I'm like, watch the fight. Ruiz dictated when the fight was going to take place, how the fight was going to be fought. He controlled how the fight was going to be. AJ was just reactionary to what was going on in the fight. He was not the ring general. He wasn't the dictator of any of the offense in that fight. So if you let Andy Ruiz dictate the pace, decide when the fight's going to happen, how the fight's going to happen, to put the action, turn up the action and turn it down, you're not going to win. Because all he got to do is clip you once, and then you're on Dream Street. You clipped him, he got up, and he shook that right off, and then you hit him with a devastating right, and it still did nothing to him. So we know he can take a punch.
That right hand, that's the thing. Like, talk about the confidence Andy's got to be coming in there with. Like, dude, he hit me with a shot I didn't even see. It definitely woke Andy up like, oh, my God. And then that right hand, dude, like, that was about as flush as right hand. That is about as flush as right hand as you're going to land on somebody. And he just ate it up like, give me seconds,
Yeah, so it's all going to come down to how he wins this fight.
Yeah, do you think it'd be earlier? You think it'd be later? Or it would just go off of when he lands that shot?
I think he'll do it I think it'll happen in round 8. I think round 8 is when Joshua gets caught. I think he'll probably go down, get hurt earlier in the fight, take round 4, might get caught. And then we'll hold on and whatever, and about round 8 is when it'll start. The walls will start closing in on him, and I think round 8 is when he just comes apart. So I got Ruiz winning by knockout 8.
There you have it.
I don't
want to take too much more out of your time. What do you think about Eubank Jr. Korobov? Do you think who do you think is going to come out of that one? Because the winner is supposed to take on Charlo Hogan, the winner of that, which most people think Charlo will win that. How do you see that Eubank Jr. Korobov fight going down?
Oh man, I think that's going to be a firefight, and I think Korobov is going to be doing really well, and then I think Eubank is going to catch him with a wild right hand, and then finish him with a left. It's going to come out of nowhere. Watch what I tell you. It's going to come out of you're going to be like, man, this is a good fight. Korobov's doing good. Bam! It's going to happen just like that. Right hand's going to freeze him. Left hand's going to finish him. just like that. I've seen it happen in my brain about 3-4 times. I was like, yep, it's going to happen. He's going to throw a wild right hand and catch him and freeze him. And then the left hand's going to finish him. I was like, I see a fight ending just like that. And I was like, I could see that happening in like 3 or 4 rounds. I was like, it's going down. There's going to be some knockouts this week.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
fight I've envisioned.
Dude, I mean, honestly, they could have stopped it at the end of the third. I mean, he didn't move forward. I mean, when the ref tells you to come forward, he didn't move forward, did he?
Oh, yeah. Well,
he didn't
no,
at all.
Couldn't have blown that whistle. Eddie Hearn would have been in the ring. That
Yeah,
referee
I know,
would have
but
never had another job of this.
Yeah. but AJ's busy tucking his shit in, you know, like, oh, I got to adjust my trunks. Like, no, dude, walk forward.
Oh,
like,
you going somewhere, man?
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in. And rest in peace, man. It's a hard time to get through, and I appreciate you taking time out, man. And thoughts and prayers out to the family, man.
All right, Chris. Thank you guys for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir,
and,
man. You
yeah,
take it
they're
easy.
showing the
Enjoy
commercial
the
right now. They're showing it
really?
right now, the commercial.
Nice.
Right on TNT, the rematch.
Now, do they show the date?
And they don't advertise the date.
I don't understand it, dude. I understand it's an app. I get it. But, like, young people, old people, everybody needs to know when the fucking fight is. Like, I mean.
Right. If you don't
I don't
tell
get
them
it,
the date, they're not going to go do it. They just did it again. I was waiting to see it. They just download the Zone app. That's it. That's all they tell you. Don't give
it's like,
a date.
so I could do that anytime then? Cool. Like, nah, dude. I just don't understand it, man. I guess we're just.
It's moronic.
It's unbelievable, dude.
Absolutely moronic.
You can spend all that marketing money and not put a fucking date on it. It's just letters, dude. It's just letters.
Yep.
And numbers. All right, man. You take it easy.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. That was really, really nice of Garcino going through a tough time to be able to call in. Like I said, I knew his grandmother, meant a lot to him. I didn't know her, but I knew, that it meant a whole lot to him, and it's always tough to lose a loved one. So I appreciate, him calling in. And like I said, thoughts and prayers go out to his family. And hopefully they can, start looking on the upside of things. It's just tough, especially around a holiday, Get the family together and then the grandmother passes. So rest in peace, no doubt about it. I'm going to go to 310 in just a second, but there's a couple items that I want to cover with Joshua, the mental stuff, And I'm going to read some quotes, and I'm going to play an audio and that type of thing. But did I just say I'm going to play an audio? I'm going to play an audio. Sound like somebody. I'm not going to get into it. Anyway, there's just some quotes that it just doesn't line up. Like, for this whole time, he's been like the Mr. Corporate, Mr. GQ, Mr. Good Guy, a guy that got in a little trouble as a kid or as a teen, whatever, and then turned his life around. And, like I don't have any problems with Anthony Joshua coming around as Mr. Corporate, Mr. Kiss the Baby, Mr. Politician. No problems at all. The guy was, he's making hand over fist, making a ton of money. If you want to go that route, go that route, dude. That's awesome. But you either are that or you're not, or it's fake. Well, there's something in there. And sometimes you don't see people's true colors until you see them, right? And when it comes to an athlete and a boxer, losing for the first time can be devastating. There's certain people that you think would be just an a-hole, a complete asshole when they lose, right? And when they lose, they're not. They're not that at all. And you're like, wow. And then other people who can talk well in front of the camera and come across as a good guy, good person, right? Then all of a sudden they lose and they're a poor sport and they're making excuses and, there's just all sorts of stuff. So little by little we've seen AJ mentally kind of just be all over the place. And like I said, it is a red flag. But here's some quotes from him. He's trying to get like a different mentality, that fuck you mentality, the way he describes it, that killer instinct. These are a couple of quotes, basically, when they were discussing about the mindset, of Joshua. And he said the mindset is calm, mindset's calm, killer mindset. That's what it's all about. Ice cold, stay in the moment, stay disciplined, just killer. I belong here. I deserve to be here. This ain't new to me. Everything we do is only for greatness. That's how I want to approach my training camps moving forward. Boxing is a sticky and tricky game mentally. Physically is one thing, but there's highs and lows with this. He's talking about mentally. Do I want to do this? Am I good enough? Am I getting the opportunities that I deserve? Well, that shouldn't even be on your mind. What do you mean getting the opportunities you deserve? That's all you've been doing. So many obstacles. I almost said popsicle. But you just tell yourself that you belong, and you belong at the top level. When you keep on telling yourself that, you'll soon find yourself in great positions and all that, right? And that's all positive stuff. And I played a clip a couple of weeks ago that was like, wait, what? I'm a little lost. But now he's kind of flipping it, and it's almost like some sort of jealousy. Like a lot of people were jealous and haters of him based off of him being the cash cow and making all this money and putting 90,000 people for these $10 and $12 million gates in Wembley Stadium. And, that obviously brought some haters and brought some people that were like, what the hell? But now you start to see him, and I don't know. There's just certain things that you're like, nobody's even saying that. But here's a clip, kind of what I'm trying to describe from Sky Sports.
How are you feeling? All good, thank you. All good. What sort of a camp has it been? A good one, an intense one. We've got some championship sparring partners, championship fighters in general. The energy in the camp's been solid. I'm speaking all the positive stuff, but besides that, it's been a whole heap of hard work as well.
The old saying goes, if you approach the same task in the same way, 9 times out of 10,
get the same result.
You get the same result.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing that's been different?
Up the sparring, I'll say. That's the best way you can prepare for a fight. Is up the sparring partners, man. And they've been giving me hell. People probably see on social media who I'm working with, well-recognized athletes, and that's the best way. That's the closest thing I can get to a fight. So I feel I'm aspiring for a long period of time now, and it just gets you battle hardened. So I just feel tough.
And he has mentioned that numerous times now, and there has been some reports about him getting, kind of diced and sliced at times. Sometimes you have a bad sparring session, but he's admitting right here that he's getting pushed and his body sore from sparring, and they've been really taking it to him at times.
I like body aches and pains and all that stuff, but it's for the right reason. It's from the punches, and that's the stuff that gets you battle ready. Yeah.
So you've upped the sparring. How much do you think those guys have been able to replicate the kind of thing that Andy Ruiz is going to throw at you?
I feel like any sparring partner, big or small, is doing you a favour by throwing punches at you. It's important to get punches thrown at you because it teaches you how to defend and stuff like that under pressure. But in terms of replicating, that's really what they're there for as well, is to replicate their style, and it's been a blessing because these guys know what they're doing. A good fighter can fight in many styles, so they know what's needed to be done, and they're bringing the heat. That's the main thing, because I feel like that's what Andy Ruiz does. When you listen to him talk, he's like, I'm ready to bring the heat, man. You know what I mean? So they're bringing the heat day in, day out. And the main thing is it just getting me battle hardened. Punches to the head, body, shoulders, forearms. Just gets you conditioned so you can keep on walking through fire.
So in that sense, then, are we going to see a different Anthony Joshua this time around?
I don't like to say different because I am. I've always been solid. I've always been a fighter. So I can't really say I'm going to go in there and then you're going to see me fight like Mike Tyson, or you're going to.
There was also some quotes that I missed that he said that, you know, just so you guys know out there, like, I'm not all of a sudden like this pussy. People think just because I got hit and all that, I'm not a pussy. Like, I'm going to show, like, he keeps saying what he's going to show, and a lot of this stuff is really good that he's saying, but then it's like the opposite. You hear what I'm saying when I'm in there.
Hopefully by the time the fight comes, it will be the best version of me, better than I was 6 months ago.
Because you know you can expect the best version of Andy Ruiz Jr. this time around.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So I know I'm in for a tough fight.
We always like to obsess about your weight.
Yeah.
And you do look a little bit lighter.
I know.
Is that telling us something about the speed that you've got now?
Nah. I don't know. Yeah, it's quite interesting because the weight thing's been spoken about a lot. But I always say, like, you don't make your weight as a heavyweight and then focus on training. You focus on your training, and if you feel good, whatever weight you are, you work around that. So all I've done is just focus on my boxing aspect, and providing I'm doing my rounds and doing my training and I'm feeling good, then the weight will be what the weight is. But we just have to take the answers from the gym in order for the weight to be what it is. So it's not like I've got to hit this target and that means I'm ready. I feel like I've got to train in this certain way. I've got to perform in this certain way in the gym. And then once we've ticked all those boxes, whatever the weight will be is whatever the weight will be.
Speaking of focus, normally in the build-up to a fight, you're selling it, you're out there on social media an awful lot. This time you've kept things a lot quieter. Do we take from that you are a lot more focused on the fight itself?
Take that away. You can definitely take that away. As it like, I always understood when I came into the game the importance of adding something to the boxing division. I feel like every fighter has to, because, you know, there's no legacy that we join. We have to create our own. Like, when you get into the sport, no one really knows who you are, so you have to do your apprenticeship through the amateurs, and then the pros, you try and make a name. So I understood that you had to create a show, and I worked at that as well as working at boxing. And then after taking my loss, I know I've got to get back down to my fundamentals. There's a little crack in the foundation. So rather than sitting on the top of the kingdom, I've got to get down on my hands and knees and get fillings in the cracks and stuff like that. So rather than flaunting and promoting the show and showing the castle off, I've now got to get down and fix the cracks in the building. And that's what I've been doing, is focusing on that type of stuff rather than promoting.
How's that been for you, living with the fact that there is a 1 now against your name in the loss column?
No stress. No stress at all. I can never say that no one's ever lost, because boxing, there's been some great, great men that have managed to go through their career without taking it out. But I'm not amongst those men. So I look at those guys and what they've done, and they carried on. So I just feel like history shows you how to deal with certain aspects of life. And I'm just blessed to have a second opportunity, right? So it's not like I'm sitting here lost and we're talking about Anthony, you know, what have you done? Like, you look like you've lost it. You're not the same person. Like, you're not a fighter anymore. What are you? You still know me as the same man. So I'm still here. So the loss hasn't affected me in that sense.
I remember saying to you in the press conference immediately after the first fight in New York, is this where we discovered the true Anthony Joshua? Yeah. Do you think you have discovered a bit more about yourself in the period since then because of that?
Oh, yeah. And I always reflect back to, I always say, I listen to these YouTube motivational videos, and a lot of them are to do with struggles, and your ears open to certain bits of information. You then become smart, don't you? Rather than blocking it out because it doesn't relate to you. The more you listen, the more you learn. So my ears are definitely open to learning more.
And in that sense, you talked about the possibility of adding to your training team to have more people giving you more ideas.
Up until this point, I actually do like a lot of the stuff he says. It just, you know, when he turns it around, that's what's confusing.
Andy Ruiz. If Anthony beats him, it's a foregone conclusion anyway.
No.
You come out the other side, you're on the wrong side of it.
I'm fighting the best man in the world now.
How does your mentality change now because of that?
I'm going to whoop him. Show how great I am. Because they think he's that great, so when I beat him, I want everyone to back. No.
And you see right there, it's really crazy because it's almost like, can't we give Andy Ruiz credit? Like, nobody says he's the best heavyweight. Listen to what he says here.
On the other side, you're on the wrong side of it.
I'm fighting the best man in the world now.
How does your mentality change now because of that?
I'm going to whoop him. Show how great I am. Because they think he's that great. So when I beat him, I want everyone to bow to my feet, tell me how great I am. Because as you said, I could beat Andy Ruiz before and get the credit I deserve. So that's why you say you see me in the ring. I felt like I was ready to. What fighting King Kong was I in the mindset? So now I'm apparently fighting the quickest hands and the best fighter in the division. Once I beat him, I want everyone to bow to me and tell me how great I am.
That seems a different kind of approach to what we've had from you previously. All the time that I've known you, you've always been a very humble kind of a guy, but now you're going into it with, it sounds like a different mindset, a different mentality.
I think being humble is not take competition out of being humble. You know, being humble is like me respecting you as a person and me respecting a lady who's on the bus and I stand up and give her my seat. And do you know what I mean? That's humble. But when you talk about competition, I feel people understand and respect that you have to carry a sense of fire in your belly, and that's all that is. It's not like arrogance or anything. It's just confidence, and I'm just.
You have to. I mean, he's basically saying you have to have arrogance, but it's not arrogance. It's fire in your belly. But then another one here. This is from IFL TV, and just listen to this.
2 minutes, 2 questions on that YouTube channel. Going to be some behind the scenes footage building up to this fight.
5 days away. How are you feeling today?
I'm fighting now. Feel good. That's the main thing. Mentally, I mean, physically, that's what everyone goes through training camp. But mentally, I'm in a good place. Notice anything different, or just the usual me?
No, I've noticed. I wanted to ask you about your whole kind of fuck you attitude you've had.
Do you know what it is? Do you know
what is with that?
That first interview with Sky, I think they took like 10 seconds of that part. It was just my way of describing what I was trying to say. They took the first 10 seconds of the interview. But I think it's important to have a fuck you attitude as well, especially when you're down and out.
You see what he just did there? No. They took elements of what I said, but it is important to have a fuck you attitude. I mean, this is where I'm like, which one is it?
You know what it is? You know
this is where the corporate structure comes in.
That first interview with Sky, I think they took like 10 seconds of that part. It was just my way of describing what I was trying to say. They took the first 10 seconds of the interview. But I think it's important to have a fuck you attitude as well, especially when you're down and out.
Is that how you feel though? Like,
nah.
He just said he's down and out.
Credit, like, you don't feel like.
No, I never want the credit because you're never gonna get it. I just want the.
I never want the credit because you're never gonna get it. He just said that. Remember the last video?
Satisfaction within myself. I work hard. I know I work hard. I don't cut no corners, and that's all that matters really. But I don't think I've ever will search for like admiration. You know what I mean? I'm just in my own lane, bro. You know me. I've always stayed in my own lane.
But your comments about, look, Ruiz beat me. He's the man. When I beat him, give me that same accolade.
Yeah. But he beat me fair and square. I give him the credit, and it's nice. He deserves everything that's come his way. But we get to do it again. And when I win, it's the same thing. The table's turning, and that's what I'm saying. Give me that praise. I want.
I'm just confused. He wants the praise, but he doesn't. But he's humble. But you should kiss his feet. He wants everybody to bow down and kiss his feet when he wins. It's like who in the hell has said that he's the best heavyweight in the division right now? If any, it's usually right now it's Tyson Fury and Wilder. That's what I see online. That's who I see saying he's the number one guy. It's just strange, dude. And there's just I played these over and over the last couple of months, and you're just like, it's just confusing to me. It's confusing to me. So as far as the first fight, though, I just want to talk a little bit about it through the rounds and bring in 3-1-0 and get his take. I thought Joshua won the first round. He was jabbing. He was actually moving a tad bit. You saw Ruiz trying to cut off the ring, but he just wasn't able to at that time. Second round I gave to Ruiz. I actually thought that beyond the jabs, he actually landed like an early right hand and some left hooks that landed pretty well. AJ didn't really land anything clean. It was kind of a slower round. So it's 1-1. Now obviously, you know, the third round, all hell broke loose. This is the round of the year, probably, right? A left hook in an exchange, in like a left upper and a left. There was a left hook exchange that knocked him down, kind of a left upper, huge left hand, right? And that dropped Ruiz. He gets up, and like I said earlier, Joshua lands about as flush as right hand as you can. And before he landed those left hooks in the exchange, that's when he was getting kind of loose after before he'd even knocked him down, he was kind of engaging in a mini war. Because he always says, well, once I knocked him down, that's when I spazzed out. But he was spazzing out before he knocked him down a little bit, then knocked him down, then landed a beautiful right hand that was not spazzing out, then allowed Ruiz to get on the inside. And Ruiz was stunned a little bit from that knockdown, but he made an adjustment right away. And he did that little duck down. He knew that he couldn't get caught with that left hook, so this time he ducked it and landed his own big shot. And it was like right on the ear, behind the ear, on the side of the head, legs wobbly, really bad. I mean, this was really bad. And he landed two hard right hands. It was another knockdown. And to be honest with you, we knew it wasn't going to get stopped. But the ref could have stopped the fight at the end of the third because he says, come to me. And Josh was so out of it that he's trying to adjust his trunks. He's not walking forward. He, just kind of moseys on down the lane, down the road, to his corner after that. He was in horrible shape. Now, I understand why they didn't stop it, but if you're being honest with yourself, they could have stopped it at that point. I know they wouldn't. He's too much of a money man, but still, they could have, and it wouldn't have been no problem. My problem with the left hook changed the fight. However, he did show that he recouped somewhat. Was he 100%? No. Was he ever going to be 100%? Probably no. But he did recoup enough because he was still tired and hurt and just burning time in the fourth round. Remember, there's that moment where he actually inhaled and showed him that to Ruiz. He was like, and smiled at him. And Ruiz, I think, was a little busy or a little tired too, and he didn't want to punch himself out. And he had already won that round. That was in a 10-point must system. That was a 10-8 round. The old way is a 9-7 round, right? But I actually gave Joshua the fifth round. He looked fresh enough to jab and be busier, and once in a while, land it throughout that round. He actually landed a couple hard right hands to show that he clearly won the round. So when he said that one shot, that's what did it, I disagree. Now, that turned the fight, but you were able to jab and move and land hard right hands and win the fifth round. That's 2 rounds after. Obviously, I thought Joshua had a lazy jab in the early going that started getting countered, and some of the body work and the looping shots in the last minute started finding a home for Ruiz. And then the 7th round, obviously, early exchange leads to a barrage of Ruiz punishment, knocking him down. Not much after that, knocked him down again just off a half a flurry. And that's when Joshua spit the mouth guard out. That's cool. But that's when he got up and walked away. Started going over talking to his corner. And then the whole time when he's got his arms up just lounging, that's telling the ref that you don't want to fight. You could say he quit or he didn't quit. He was so hurt he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't want any more. And you could tell he looked, he said, I'm good. And then it was basically like all smiles, and then it was over. Was he in shock? I don't know, but it does seem like him taking off weight, whether it's him not weightlifting in camp anymore and really just working on his skills, or it's a combination where he did lose some weight before he got into camp. He never needed all that bulk. I know that I remember him talking in interviews that he wanted to bulk up enough to take Klitschko's shots and all that. But that just gets you tired, those muscles, dude. They need, we said it time and time again, and there was a fair amount of UK fanboys, not the UK fans that have been there for a long time. I'm talking about the fanboys, and they would laugh at us when we'd say he's too muscle bound. He can't breathe properly when he throws punches. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, he was so tired after that Klitschko round where he threw punches and hurt him. And it's like, dude, go back and watch the rounds where he's supposedly really tired. Well, not supposedly. He is really tired. But if that's punching yourself out, you're in big problems. And, Vladimir needs to be pushed to knock you out. He had already been on the ground, so he was kind of worried about that too. He had been lit up pretty well too. So, he was being careful. He didn't go finish him. But if he thinks that he's going to move the whole time and jab on the outside, first of all, I think his jab is a little too lazy to do that. Second of all, he's never done it for a full fight. Third of all, the defense. Anthony Joshua is best at range, where he controls the tempo and he slowly but surely inches forwards and cuts the ring off you. And then his jab looks really good, and his combos look great, and he can hard punch and be accurate and all that. But if you move, even Carlos Takam, Parker, if you move a little bit, he's not as accurate, and he's not as fluid, and he actually gets in trouble defensively. And nobody really got on the inside and did some work like Ruiz. And when he's on the inside, it's a problem. So I think he's going to try to move on the outside, jab, throw the right hand, score, and jab and grab. And I think Luis Pabon, I think that's how you say his name, that guy's going to let him jab and grab. So my thing is, if this goes to the cards, Joshua's getting the cards. I think he could get knocked down twice and still get the cards, potentially. Unless he just doesn't clearly win any rounds. But I don't see that, I think he wins rounds. I gave him 2 rounds. I gave him the first and the 5th. Otherwise, I couldn't give him any other. I'm going to kind of hold off there and let Mark 310 kind of give his take on how he thinks this stuff's going to play out, because it's really hard for me not to think Ruiz is just going to catch him, and the fight's going to turn, and then he's just going to keep landing big shots. It's really tough for me not to think that. We go out to 310. Mark, what's going on, man? How the hell are you, buddy?
Hey, Chris, what's up? How's your holiday?
It was pretty good, man. It was pretty good. Yeah, got some some family time, got some turkey time.
You live by the rents, or you got to go out and visit them?
The rents are all over the place. My mom lives in Sweden, and my pops actually retired, and he lives in Florida for about, give or take, 9 months out of the year. He does come up in the summers, but it was more like my sister's family, my nephews and nieces, and actually the guy she married, her husband, we grew up in the same neighborhood, so I know those folks pretty well. How about you? Did you get some turkey time?
Yeah. Actually, I went back home. I actually hadn't been back in like maybe 4 or 5 years. So I got to see everybody. It was nice. It was good. Went up to New York. Actually got snowed in on the way back. I actually literally just got in like 3 hours ago. I got snowed in flying out of Newark, and it wasn't like snow, it was like sleet, and it was ridiculous, and it was crazy. And then I had to choose this connected flight through Atlanta, and then it was delayed 3 times, so I ended up spending the night in Atlanta and going to some strip club and getting fucked up. It was crazy. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. My whole debacle on the way back. Yeah, but it's funny because I set up DAZN for my parents, for my dad. My dad he's actually a big time boxing fan. He's what got me into it. And he hasn't watched anything since HBO. When I set it up for him,
right.
I set up their whole thing. put them on the AT&T $15 a month plan and stuff like that, because they still did have cable. They were like, holy shit, this is all we have to do. I'm like, yeah, just go to the Fire Stick and press that. So I set up the DAZN for him, and the first thing that came up, because I don't really fuck with the DAZN, you know what I mean? I literally just watch it sort of on demand when there's something I gotta watch. But as I was setting it up, that whole little documentary, you know, the Sylvester Stallone,
one night,
that came up.
Just pop on and start playing.
Yeah, and it was a production value. I gotta say, man, I wasn't expecting that. That was really we all sat down and watched it. I was like, oh, this is cool. It kind of reminds me of HBO back in the day. You know, they're throwing a lot of familiar faces on there. Yeah, I really like how they did that, because it got my dad hyped about it. You know, he had seen the highlights of the fight, but he's like, oh, you want to watch the? And we watched the first fight. So it was kind of cool, because I was like, oh shit, yeah, the rematch is next weekend. But yeah, that was such a fucking exciting fight, man. And it's weird because, when I actually sit back and I think about some of the things you were saying, and over the past few months, I was thinking about a bunch of shit. It was kind of weird. I do think you're 100% right in the sense of, it's not like Ruiz is going to hit him with one shot and it's going to be done daily. I think that people that think that, they're not really thinking it through, all the way. You know what I mean? It's okay, for example, we saw AJ, he recovered in the 5th round. We saw this. He won the 5th round pretty clean.
Yeah,
he recovered.
He did. He landed some good shots by the end of that round, too. Really nice right hand.
Exactly. And Ruiz, he didn't do anything to really tire out AJ. You don't really see a guy gain momentum like that. Then all of a sudden he loses momentum. And then all of a sudden, in the 6th round, AJ had his hands down. And what I realized over the months is I was like, dude, I think he was taking that round off, because it goes back to the over-under was fucking 6.5. He knew the 7th round, he only had a minute and a half to get it done or end the fight. So I think he took that round off just to, go balls to the wall, 7th round, all or nothing. If I knock him out, I get him. If he gets me, whatever. At least the mafioso dudes aren't going to fucking kill me tomorrow. That's what he was thinking. I mean, literally, that's the conclusion that I came to, because he does have the style to beat Andy Ruiz. He was very okay. There was no when he got hit with that first shot, why didn't he just stay back and just box him and just fucking just have a really shitty night, a really tough night, but just win the rounds? He would have won the fight on the cards. Exactly. Yeah, he would have had to do a rematch, all that shit. Yeah, of course. But, I mean, what, do you really think he's that lazy that he's like, fuck this, I just want to get the knockout? No, man, he doesn't want to lose, because, there's some weird shit going on with that over-under. I keep going back to that over-under because that's the whole reason why the whole shit show happened. It's all about that over-under, man. And I honestly think this weekend, I haven't really gave much thought to it, but, after taking a look at the fight, the first fight again, and his style, and then when you think about the Povetkin fight, AJ does have the ability, like you were saying earlier, he's not going to be on the outside the entire time. But when you saw Povetkin, he doesn't have the fast hands like Andy Ruiz, but it can be said that he's more powerful, and he has that sneaky-ass fucking left hook that he lands at close range. And AJ was
he's got
really
those short
weary of that.
inside punches like him, too.
And you saw how AJ was handling that. He was landing big shit on the outside, getting in when he needed to, and being conservative. He was being smart, and that's what he's going to do this time. He's going to do it. In the beginning, I was like, oh, yeah, AJ's going to win a lopsided decision. But I think he's going to get him out of there probably around the 9th, 10th round. He's going to get Andy Ruiz out of there. And also, just because for the story of boxing, for the story of the heavyweights, that just makes the story that much better. If he just slides by with a fucking unanimous decision, that doesn't really, that's kind of, yeah, him and Wilder is still a big fight. But if he, fights a really, really nice, like if he boxes him, looks really, really good, doesn't make any mistakes, and he's real disciplined, does keep the jab pumping, but is like smart, using power, and then gets him out of there in the later rounds, shit, people are going to look at it like, oh, wow, I don't know what to think now. Yeah, he can get knocked out by Wilder, but when he's disciplined and he's ready for the guy, he could beat him. You know what I mean? So for the story of boxing, yeah, I think that I'm pretty sure he's gonna stop him late.
Yeah, you make a good point about that. As far as like how it, to come all the way out of this nightmare scenario for him and to come on the other side of it with a knockout or even a TKO stoppage or whatever, just clean ass punches, that would mean a lot more than just stinking it out and letting the dude, the ref allow just a jab and grab thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He showed in the Povetkin fight he can. I mean, just think if he would have landed that left hook in the third round, and if he wasn't pressured for that fucking knockout, and he wasn't pressured to fucking demolish fucking Andy Ruiz. If he didn't have all this fucking pressure, he would just kept it conservative, landed another one in the next couple rounds, landed another one, and maybe would have gotten him out of there. Maybe. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. He did speak to that
in an interview. He spoke that he was thinking that Wilder Brazil knockout on his mind. Like I gotta outdo him.
Yeah, for sure. And plus, because his head is all blown up. You got all this, Madison Square Garden, all this shit, 20,000 people, all this crazy shit going on, all these girls trying to fuck. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Like, all this stuff about his interviews and stuff. It's the reason why I don't like listening to stuff like that, because then it always fucks up. Like, I was even listening to what you were just playing, and it made me so want to be like, oh yeah, AJ's gonna get his ass kicked. But you gotta always understand, like these guys, they don't want to fucking do interviews, and a lot of times people are in their ear and they're just trying to make sure that like they could sell the fight, sell the fucking fight. So if you have to sound like an asshole, do it. If you have to sound like a douche, do it. If you have to sound like whatever, fucking do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of that stuff is bullshit, man. I don't think someone like Anthony Joshua is listening to fucking motivational videos. You know what I mean? Like, like people that are actually motivated. People that are actually motivated, you don't have to listen to you don't have to watch motivation.
You have to go on YouTube and watch a motivational video?
Yeah. You don't have to. Like, there's absolutely no reason for that at all. So, like, it's just weird. Like, I don't
Normally I don't let these get to me, but with him, it's been different on numerous occasions that I don't think he's there mentally all the way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's always been a little different with the media. Almost like I don't know if he's being too honest, if he doesn't know how to deal with it. He has been. If you look at anybody who's been famous since they were fucking young, they're all a little like they don't really like
sure.
You know what I mean. So maybe he's just that guy. You know what I mean? So he just doesn't know how to deal with it. Like the odds.
Yeah, and they're all like a lot of them are mentally disturbed. So it's like, I just the confidence.
Tom Cruise is the weirdest fucking dude. Like, and he's in his late 20s, early 30s. He's so fucking weird and famous. He's been like, getting jocked from all these girls since he was like 16. What do you expect? It's like they're not in this world. So maybe he's just a little weird. Who knows?
Yeah, just like I said, it's the back and forth thing of saying one thing and saying the complete opposite over and over again. And so I really think a lot of it's just fake. Like a lot of this.
Yeah. People are going to bow down to me.
Of being corporate.
Everyone has to bow down to me.
You got to bow down because I beat Andy Ruiz. Are you jealous of Andy, though? Like, dude, we haven't been big up in him saying he's the number one guy. Calm down. Like, it's just weird, that's all. I would never bring it all the way into the fight. I'm not sold he can't get hurt in this fight. I'm not sold that it won't happen. I guess that's the biggest.
We can't ever be sold that he. I mean, dude, anybody could hurt him. Like, you know, we've already established that. Well, Wilder Wilder does not have to hit him. Again, he has to be 1 or 2 inches around his face area, and he's gonna go down. You know, AJ is gonna go down. You know what I mean? Like it's not happening. They all this temple bullshit. I mean, I don't know, man. How the hell? Why are we just hearing about this equilibrium shit now? All these fucking guys are getting hit in the temple for how many fucking years?
Oh my
now
God.
all of a sudden it's this big science.
That's all
now
they used to do is rabbit punch back in the day, dude. That's all they used to do is rabbit punch.
But, oh my God, okay? You're not gonna fool me, guys. You're not gonna fool me. You're using fucking these are dive excuses. Come up, the dive coach of the dive team comes up with these fucking things to say to the fucking media to try to fucking get people. Dude, do not fucking make any more excuses for fucking dives. The guy gets hit. Oh, but you got hit in the temple. You know, equilibrium. Oh, that's it. Get the fuck out of here, man. Come on. But the odds over under is 7.5. Okay, pretty interesting. Over is minus 150. Under plus 120, which is kind of a toss-up. You know, it's really, really close. So it's not like I'm going to favor one over the other.
Right.
Me personally, I just
they said that nicely.
Yeah. It does say a lot, though, you know, because they're expecting it to go further. A lot of people have the same sort of sentiment that I have. Or I guess a lot of people have about, you know, AJ, you know, boxing and stuff. Plus 120 for the under. You know, so you know, there you win money if you put on the under. You lose it if it doesn't go to the over. And Ruiz is a plus 190. AJ is a minus 250. Kind of sort of makes sense. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like it should have been a little bit more even, but kind of is what it is. It's not a fight.
That's close to 2-1 is almost like a 50-50 in boxing odds, you know.
It is, and we don't know what it's gonna look like on the day of. I'm assuming AJ is gonna fucking make it. It's gonna be even more in his favor, but yeah, I mean, it's not really a fight that I would put.
Believe in Ruiz. That's a good call. Not to interrupt you, but people that believe in Ruiz, hold off a little bit because that number will go up.
Yeah. Definitely wait till the last day to throw on Ruiz. We've seen it time and time again. Whenever the one dude has the guy who's selling all the fucking tickets at the end, he's gonna fucking always. You know what I mean? So, but you know what's funny is like I was sort of excited about this fight, and then I knew that, you know, Charlo. I knew Charlo was gonna be fighting Dennis Hogan. I was like, but then fucking Korobov and Eubank, is that on the same fucking card?
Yeah.
Holy
in fact,
shit.
The winner of Korobov and Eubank is going to fight Charlo, like in the summer.
Yeah, I
like that fight a lot.
I could see that. The whole fucking card is dope. Are you kidding me?
Works.
Like, wow, man, what a great fucking way to end off the year. Like, that's a Showtime card.
If you can believe it, I still am pinching myself to see if it is. I got to look at the DVR and see if it actually is, but I'm pretty sure it's Showtime. They're telling us it's Showtime. I don't know.
I just turned it to Fox at the end all of a sudden, but man, they should have had like 4 or 5 more of these for the year. I would have been talking shit about them, but wow, like this is the fight. These are the fights I'm gonna fucking watch. That fucking AJ Ruiz. Like, okay, I'm gonna fucking watch that later the next morning or some shit. I don't even care if I hear about what happens first and then I watch it. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those types of things. These are the fucking fights, dude. These are the fucking fights, man. Fucking Charlo, and I think that, okay, I am a little disappointed though, man, about this Dennis Hogan situation. Okay, I know that you're like, you know, talking it up, like, oh yeah, Dennis Hogan's a good. But come on, we can't fucking forget, dude. He's a 154-pounder, number one. He's fucking 5'8". He's shorter than fucking the last dude. What's his name? Brandon Adams. You know what I mean? He's only
and
had
that guy
7
was
knockouts.
Man.
Yeah.
Really
he's
short.
fucking 5 foot. He's fucking and he's shorter. Dennis Hogan's shorter than him.
Yeah.
He fights shorter than him. He fucking only had 7 knockouts, and all of his fights were fucking in Australia. So he has zero power, poses zero threat. I mean, as much as I love fucking Jamal, come on, you got to give him more fucking challenges than this, man. They got to throw him in there with Jack Colque and see how many issues Jack Colque
they also
gives
got
him.
Derevchenko, and then they got the winner of this fight, the Eubank and them. Yeah, I agree. I didn't sell Hogan up. I think you're wrong, me saying that.
Oh,
I
thought you were.
Well, here's what I'll say. First of all, he has fought at middleweight, but I'm not going to sit there and defend his resume. That's for sure. He isn't a power puncher.
He fought at middleweight against a guy who's not a middleweight. He fought fucking Munguia, who wasn't really a middleweight
yet. Well, he
yet.
did fight at middleweight.
Oh,
but
he
fought him at 150.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
he fought
here's
Jack
my
Colque
point.
back in the day.
Here's my point. My point was I saw people over and over again when Charlo and Munguia was being talked about, which I don't ever think was going to be made, but it was put out there, right? And people were pumped for that fight. Pump. And then when he signs a fight with the guy who beat him, Hogan beat Munguia. I don't care what the scorecard said. He beat him.
Yeah.
So then when he signs the guy who has a different style on the outside, then all of a sudden it became a shit fight. That was my only point.
That
was my only point about that. Now, can he fight on the outside? Yeah. He doesn't have much pop. That's why I think this style is good for you could make an argument it's good to like kind of almost like an extended sparring session against a style. Oh, that'll be good for him in the long run. But yeah, I'm not looking at it like some major threat or nothing like that.
It's good.
It's
good for name building. Good for name building. Good for
exactly.
Reasons.
So they can say, oh fuck, he sparked his ass, and that dude beat Munguia. That's all that is. That's all that is. I'm not looking at it like, oh, good matchup. I agree. Like it has to be the winner of Eubank Korobov next, and then it has to be Derevchenko. And it has to be that type of talent.
It does. And I have to
100%.
mention that because I always mention people on the other side, like, you know, and especially UK fighters, you know, getting these soft touches and shit. I mean, Jamal is probably my favorite fucking fighter, and it's like, come on, you shouldn't be fighting him. He's gonna get him out of there. I mean, but I'm pretty. I'm like
he's coming off a showcase fight too. You know, he just had a showcase fight.
He's gonna get Hogan the fuck up out of there. I mean, this is a really, really good style for him. You know, Hogan is kind of. I only saw the fight with him and Munguia, and that's really all I had to see. You know, because he's like he relies on his legs. You know what I mean? He's on his toes all the time. He tries to dart in and out. He gives a lot of feints and stuff, but he doesn't really keep his hands up. He actually reminded me of Sergio Martinez. But not in a good way. Like he's like a broke ass version of fucking
the
Sergio Martinez.
Version.
No finesse. No finesse.
Not the hand speed. Just crafty. Sure.
Exactly. Using his legs, like no power, like you know what I mean, like and he's very sloppy, especially with that fucking wild ass overhand right he was throwing every 2 fucking seconds. And really, his main issue is his conditioning. He was schooling fucking Munguia. The reason why they were able to get away with fucking robbing him, even though they really didn't, is because in the 6th round, Munguia was closing the fucking gap. No, Munguia wasn't winning the round still, but he got closer and closer. And for a guy like this, it's like, come on, man. If you're going to have that sort of style, you cannot gas out midway through the fight. And he clearly gassed out midway through the fight. Munguia was getting closer and closer. It wasn't the same. So on the 8th, 9th round, he was right with Munguia most of the time. That's the reason why they were able to get away with giving Munguia some rounds, even though Munguia didn't land shit anyway. But you know, I mean, so these guys
true, though. Visually, it did look like that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah, like it's not gonna all that stuff. It's not gonna work against Jamal because. Honestly, I mean, no one ever says this, but Jamal's got the best fucking jab in the middleweight division. I've been saying this shit for a while, man. And all that bouncing up and down and shit, we've heard Teddy Atlas say multiple times, and it's just common sense. A jab nullifies that. and it's going to neutralize that. And Dennis Hogan's going to look absolutely nothing like anything like he's not going to look like how he looked in the Gia fight. He's going to look like shit because that jab is going to fucking slow him the hell down. He's going to look like a completely different fighter. The jab's going to control him all night. He's going to get stopped, I'd say, in the mid to late rounds, man, for sure. For sure, 100%. They should have fucking, but I guess, they're just building him up for this fucking Eubank Jr. fight, which is pretty awesome. Like, you actually, were you predicting him to knock him out too, or you just thought he was going to win by decision?
Well, the one
Charlo.
thing I'll say is he didn't knock out his last guy. And I feel like
hasn't been knocked out or knocked down.
Yeah, I feel like he can survive. He might be able to survive. Yeah, I think he may be able to survive, but I don't know. I'm not sure if he's going to knock him out or not. But I think that was good detail on how the fight.
Yeah. Dennis Hogan slows down, man. If anyone watches how he fought Munguia, man, he was not. This is totally different, man. He's a front runner for sure, 100%. 100%.
Better at 54 too. That's another reason why. If you don't have real pop, he's got like jab pop, but that's about it. If you don't have,
and he's 5'8". He's 5'8". Come on, he's 5 foot. He's gonna get knocked out.
I swear to God,
you know what I mean?
That Charlo spot was 5'6" though, dude.
Yeah.
He fought. He's like a wrestler to me, dude. All shoulders.
Oh yeah. Yeah, dude. It was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you lifting weights? But yeah, you seemed all like stonky. Yeah, 100%. Fucking, I wish, I wish that I could give a detail. I wish I knew more about Korobov. You know what I mean? Like, all I can really go by is just that fucking.
Korobov's a front runner too. He fades.
Yeah.
He hurt late. He's a good outside boxer. I think he's going to give Eubank all sorts of problems for a while. But once we get to mid and late, I worry, and that's the one thing. Eubank does have power. It's real, especially at 160, not at 68. This is at 60.
Yeah, I mean, from what I noticed though, it seemed like Korobov was pretty orthodox type of dude, and like. I don't know. I mean, who did Eubank Jr. lose against?
He was countering Charlo last week like a mother effort. Korobov.
Yeah.
He was countering him for a while.
Yeah.
Then, and also
that
you
was
had
like
Charlo
a 7-5
like
fight. That was a 7-5 fight for sure. Like it was close.
Yeah, exactly.
That was fucking
and
close.
it took the second half and him hurting him to clearly beat him, but on a 7-5 level. You're exactly right. I just see Eubank Jr. winning off hard shots, but honestly, I think Korobov could make him look silly for a little bit. Yeah,
then one big shot, because, I mean, also, too, again, this goes back to the last time I called in, and, in a case like this where, I wouldn't really have, as far as, me just looking at the guys, you don't even have to study him to know who's going to fucking win. The business of boxing says that Eubank Jr. is going to win, and he's going to probably win by knockout. You know what I mean? Because that's going to really sell this Jamal fight.
They want to have the Eubank Jr. the Charlo's press conference. That's exactly what they want. You're exactly right.
So it's either whoever the matchmaker is saw that maybe Korobov, maybe this is what it is. Maybe Korobov has problems with inside fighters. You know what I mean? Because Jamal isn't really a dude that stays on the inside, and they just know that fucking Eubank Jr. just throws those uppercuts like a motherfucker, and they just know he's going to get him out of there. Maybe they were really that on point. It's just how matchmakers should be thinking, hopefully. This is how they should be doing it instead of setting up fights and paying guys to take dives. This is how it should be. Hopefully they saw something like that, and they're like, okay, yeah, for sure. We think that Eubank Jr. is going to stop him, or look really, really good, even though he might lose some rounds. Because from a technical standpoint, Eubank Jr. is just he's so unorthodox. How can you really predict? You know what I mean? I just, he's all athleticism, yeah. And the guys that beat him are you're talking about George Groves, a real George Groves, not the fucking Callum Smith bullshit dive version.
And that fight got really second half, you know.
Yeah. So it's like you look at the guys who beat him. You know, those are like really, really good fighters. So you know, we know he's gonna win, but how good is he gonna look? He's gonna build the shit out of this fight.
He was also up on Andy Lee. He was taking it to Andy Lee, and then he got caught too. He just has this thing about him where he's a front runner, and he gets caught, and he fades, and then he gets hurt. Like, it's happened in like 3-4 fights, Korobov. So I think that's what they're.
Really?
I think it's a combination of what you're saying. The matchmaking.
Yeah, and I wonder if he's susceptible to fucking uppercuts and shit like that. But I fucking Eubank. I mean, he looked really, really good in his last fight, and I was happy for him because everyone was fucking hating on him. Like, so I hate that whole bandwagon shit. Like, you know, like people were just waiting to hate on this fucking guy, and then like, you know, they just jumped all over it because the fucking Groves fight. And it's like.
Right.
And then, but now, like, he shut everyone up. So, like, you know, I'm definitely happy for him as far as that goes. Like, yeah, man, that's what I'm looking forward to more. Like, it's like that. We should have more weekends like this, I guess. But I mean, we'll say the year thus far, this has been the best year. It may have been better than 2017. It is better than 2017.
It took a while to get going. And once it got going, it popped off. But it took a whole long time to get going. So I don't know if it's as good as 2017. But, man,
it's gotta be, dude. If you actually look at
late April, it's been popping off pretty damn good. It's really been great.
Canelo Kovalev, if that was actually like a real fight and like the whole AJ Ruiz thing and the whole fucking like then the Wilder and Tyson Fury thing. I mean, come on. I mean, and then Porter and Spence. Come on. It's a better year than 2017, man. 100. I mean, definitely, man. Like for sure. Did you touch on this Callum Smith situation? And who the fuck is there anybody else in the fucking world who fucking said that Callum Smith, what Callum Smith is? You know, I mean, like, come on. Okay, people
he clearly lost that John Ryder fight. That's for sure.
Of
Those
course,
scorecards
show
ridiculous.
It's just why. I mean, there's so many different ways to fucking beat this fucking guy. It's not even funny, but that's not it. People got to realize it's like, hey man, you can view it as hate, you can view it as whatever. I am the only person up front, even right after he looked, quote unquote, the best he's ever looked against fucking Groves. What did I say? That's bullshit. Wait, no, that's a fraud. Wait, no, that's a scam. That was a fixed fight. That dude he's trash. He's gonna get knocked out. He's a hype job. That's what happened, dude. Like honestly,
yeah, his level of competition has been just horrible too, man.
I didn't think that was gonna happen with John Ryder. The fuck, he lost like 8
rounds.
rounds.
I didn't either. I just thought it'd be a good fight, but I didn't think he'd lose like that. I mean, he didn't lose, but he lost for sure. And now we know why. You know, I mean, that's why Eddie's just been lingering and trying to get him the Canelo fight. I mean, the funny thing about Eddie at 160 and 168, the dude has Jacobs, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Bivol, Andrade, and Golovkin, and he just complaining that he can't get a big fight made. And it's like, dude, you guys got fucking talent. Make the fucking fights.
In-house, yeah, man, do it up. I don't know why, but, you know, he doesn't want to lose, and he wants to get a big payday off every single one, and, you know, I mean, it's like, yeah, it sucks, man. It's, but, you know, Callum Smith, I mean, it was obvious. It was obvious what was going to fucking happen with him. I don't know. I mean, I think he sort of just overlooked him, so he looked, like, extra bad about it, but, you know, it's, you can still tell. You can see all the flaws. You can see how bad it is, man. What's up with some of the news? Refresh my memory, because I'm dealing with.
He did cover a fair amount of news. Josh Warrington and Shakur Stevenson. It sounds like that fight's going to happen in April and May in the UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
cool.
They're closing in on a deal on that one. Warrington and Stevenson. which I'm really excited to see that fight. That's an interesting fight. Very interesting.
Yeah. But Josh Warrington, he's I guess. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, it's a come forward hustle style, you know. Stevenson doesn't have a ton of fights. I think it's a good fight for him.
How many knockouts does Josh Warrington have, though?
Not many.
Like really low, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that always turns me. I mean, like, whatever, though. I mean, you can't really hate on him because of that. Like, it's sort of like whatever. Yeah.
I mean, Frampton's a pretty good fighter, and he beat him pretty cleanly. And I just think it's a good step-up fight for Stevenson. I mean, that's why they're matching this early with a guy that has a name, because he doesn't have a lot of power. He has pop and pressure, but he doesn't have power, you know. But he does bring an intensity and can close the gap on you. I just think it's a good fight.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I never got to call in for the fucking the Ortiz and Wilder thing really quick. I was really impressed with that. I mean, you got to admit the way that fucking Wilder landed that punch. You know that was it like a right cross? That's like the definition of a right cross, right? It was like sort of out of nowhere the way that he landed that fucking punch. I mean, I wish he would have thrown more punches throughout the fight, but you know. Again, like we said before, like all these people like not realizing how good of a boxer Ortiz is, but that looked really, really good. It did. I don't have any complaints about that fight. Wilder really actually impressed me with that, man. It's it was a clean shot.
Dude, Ortiz was landing a lot of left hands too, flush.
Yeah, and he should, man. He's Luis Ortiz. He's the best boxer.
Yeah, he's a good fighter.
Yeah, he's a really, really good fighter. It definitely made Wilder look. I definitely gained a lot more respect for him as far as because he wasn't as sloppy and all that stuff. But notice how you were saying he was fucking sick the first fight. Well, were you sick this fight too? Because the same fucking thing happened. Like you look.
I think you lost 4 rounds in this fight, being not sick.
The whole
pretty sure he lost 4 rounds.
He said it a couple times. I think he said it for the Tyson Fury fight too. That he was sick or something. I mean,
you
kind of
hear that. You hear that, and sometimes you hear it in their voice, but you hear that a lot. People say, "Oh, I caught a flu." And that happens in wrestling too. A lot of people are sick in wrestling, right? I mean, So I mean,
yeah, I suppose you have to make them wait, feeling like shit. Yeah. I mean, but it's too common of a fucking excuse. They got to come up with something.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like,
and if it's that bad,
they really do.
Postpone the fucking fight then. You know what I mean? If it's that bad, So.
I know. And what you guys are saying about the dates on the zone, that's 100% accurate. They have to find a better way to post the schedule. Because even my dad, he was like, "Wait, so it's on Saturday? So how do I know
when is?
Wait, so what do I do? I'm like, just turn right around the time when fights come on, just turn it on and it'll be on." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's no way for it to give you notifications, I guess, if you I mean, it's kind of weird. And if you have it on your phone, it gives you notifications.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like you can be checking emails and shit.
Yeah. Like, you don't know when the fuck it's going to be on. It's just listed. But, yeah, I mean, other than that, but again, really the fights are going to be on, and it really is awesome that they're building up this Eubank Jr. and Jamal fight. You think they would throw that on pay-per-view? Maybe in the UK? Or no?
Well, in the UK, actually, if it was in the UK, it probably would sell, yeah. If it's in the UK, it probably would be a pay-per-view.
And that's kind of weird.
I bet you they put it at the Barclays, though, again.
And remember how fucking Chris Mannix was talking to the Fox executive guy that knew nothing about boxing, was just answering questions and shit? He was saying that Al Heyman was putting Jamal into a different direction. So I was thinking, does that mean he's going to fucking sign the zone fight here and there? I thought that's what he meant, but he's not going in a different direction. He's still, they're setting him up for a Eubank Jr. fight. So what did he mean by that? Remember when he said that?
Meant to. I think that they split them up, and one's on Showtime and one's on Fox, because his brother's on Fox, and they're building. They already have the contract signed similar to where Wilder and Fury did, based off them winning something. But whoever wins the Tony Harrison Jermell Charlo fights more than likely Julian Williams, because he has that Rosario, who's a good fighter, but it's like his first defense, hometown Philly fight. But they're fighting in the summer, so I think what they were talking about is splitting it opposite ways. Because remember, they had the card, they had both of them on that card, on the Fox card. So I think that's what he was talking about. He'll come back. He's gonna come back to Fox, much like Espinosa's been telling us anyway, that these guys are gonna come back. But we'll find out, if that's true or not.
Yeah, we'll also find out if this is going to be Showtime's last showing for eternity. It's a large possibility. I mean, or they'll probably have another year like this, but even worse. Like they'll only put on like 2-3 cards. Like, you know what I mean? Like it might be some shit like that.
You might as well not even roll out anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. More and more people talking about it.
Watch this though. They're gonna get fucking Pacquiao and Floyd fight, dude. That's what Showtime's gonna get.
That just pisses me off, man. When I hear fucking Floyd, and I was such a fucking Floyd nut hugger back in the day, man. I loved fucking Floyd when he was fighting. And when I hear that he says he's coming back, I'm like, shut the fuck up. This is so annoying. Shut the fuck up, Floyd. I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna watch your fucking fake fight.
Canelo fight, Wilder fight week.
Yeah, like
dude,
you're
promoting
an event. You're promoting a fucking event, and then you throw your face in front of it, like just like how you're standing next to Gervonta Davis, fucking talking about yourself, and that's your fucking fighter. Like, come on, man. But I thought you were this great businessman that knows how to fucking promote. Come on, man. Like, it's just annoying. Like, like why even cover it? Like, why? I mean, like, why would he even be real? Like it's like he's not gonna fight any real fights, and I mean, it's like who gives a shit? Why would any boxing media even mention it, or like that's just for some fucking Instagram shit, for some TMZ fucking you know what I mean, like the comeback. I mean, it's really annoying. I hate hearing about fucking Floyd at this fucking particular point in time, man. Like who gives a shit about that?
Read what he's doing too. You're like, dude, it's literally fight week. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Dude. Can't
when you have that
have
kind of money. Yeah, you have that much money. You really need to have everyone fucking hear your name, like more, like you know what I mean? Come on, man, just fucking hang out, man. Like it's, I mean, it's one thing. I mean, getting money is one thing, but yeah, if you actually want to be famous, you got to be a real like. That's just not a really good personality trait to have. Who the hell wants to be famous? Yeah, like that's just like not yet. An attention whore. Yeah, that is the definition of, man. Like, but I'm very, very excited about this fucking weekend. And is this going to be it for the year? It's a little depressing.
Nah, because Richard Comey and Teofimo Lopez fights on that Crawford card, and then Charlo and Harrison the week after, December 25th or 1st. So we got 3 more cards. Remember, dude, it's fucking December's like filled up now. The last couple of years, it's awesome. Usually that wasn't the case.
Yeah, and that and now it all comes full circle. Now we see why the judges just decided to look at Harrison's style and decided to give him all those rounds because now all these months later, doesn't it work out so perfectly that they can fight each other again, and then Jamel's gonna win, and then he's gonna go against fucking J-Rock, like you know what I mean, like or he would have gone against what's his face, who did J-Rock, Hurd, he would have went against Hurd, and it was perfect timing, like you know what I mean. So now we see why they do those types of things, but it's a good way to close out the year though. It's something to look forward to. I mean, I don't really give a shit about that Harrison fight, really, to be honest with you. I mean, it's going to look the same as before, but, so, I mean, what does Jamel think? Jamel's not going to stop him, I don't think. That would be amazing if he did, but I don't think it's going to look much different.
Harrison's been stopped by guys, he's been stopped before, twice, so.
We'll see.
Just seems like his style.
Willie
is,
Nelson.
yeah.
Willie Nelson. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Does he have the style? And will he be patient? You know, that's the key. Are you going to be patient? He's not as good as come forward fighter.
He's not. When he comes forward, we see what happens all the time. You see, he's not like bad coming forward. You know, he's not like Mikey Garcia, like Danny Garcia coming forward. He's just a little anxious, overly anxious, and is just trying to go for it. And like you said, not patient enough. You know, he's just got to, just
him and his brother
just
both
be
got
him,
caught up in that knockout shit. You know, him and his brother both got caught up in that knockout shit.
It more suits Jamal though, man.
It
really suits Jamal, and when he does his interviews, I like Jamal's mindset. Yeah,
Jamal
gets
hit. You know, he doesn't care about that shit.
Yeah. I love how he fights, man. That's to me, that's a perfect fucking style. The way that he talks before his fights too, his how confident he is and stuff. It's it's more believable than Jamal. Jamal is just more like he might be a little bit slicker of a fighter, just from what we see on the outside from his opponents. But I don't know, Jamal. There's something about him. He's a dope fighter, man. I think. This weekend he's gonna get him the fuck out of there. I don't know. Did is that what? Let me guess. Did Carcino say that Jamal's gonna lose? Or that he's is everyone predicting a knockout?
He don't like Charlo brothers at all. he hates the Charlo brothers. No, he didn't. He didn't say that, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Is it?
True.
Are people predicting
don't like
a knockout?
The Charlo brothers. Dude. I don't think he said one good word about the Charlo brothers.
It's that's knockout for sure. I mean, it's I'm pretty positive on that. But yeah, man, I'm gonna definitely call in next week. We'll see what happens.
Yes, sir.
For sure, man. All right, man.
All right, man.
Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir.
All
Thanks
right,
for calling in. Appreciate it. Later. Peace. All right, so Portland 503. I'm just gonna run down a couple things real quick, and then we'll go to you, so you can text me and tell me when you're ready. That type of thing. We're gonna shut this down. It's getting a little late, so we are gonna shut the show down here in a second. As far as my pick, I do think Eubank Jr. will win, but I do think the first 6 rounds, Korobov is going to counter him. He's going to be moving. I think he's going to do some decent damage to him. Or maybe not damage. Maybe that's not the right way to put it, but like some flush shots. Similar to what he's done to a lot of people, Andy Lee and Charlo. And, he's a competent dude on the outside, but I do think that, it'll catch up to him. Especially at 160. I think 160 is suited for Eubank Jr. as far as power. Now, he's raw. He is raw. And so can he cut the ring off? Yeah, he can, but I think it'll take him a while on Korobov. Because Korobov, he's slick, dude. Like those left-hand counters, that southpaw, dude, he's a good fighter. But I do think Eubank Jr. will win it. I wouldn't doubt if it's controversial, just to make this matchup, much like 310 was saying. And I think Hogan for about 4 to 6 rounds will be on the outside. Maybe Charlo won't be able to land as flush as he wants, and then he will. Then he will. As far as AJ and Ruiz, man, I've been back and forth on this. I'll admit it. I'm just not like, if it goes to the cards, Joshua's winning the fight. Whether we think he did or not, he's going to win the fight. And he's got the right. I mean, the commission, who the fuck knows, right? It's in Saudi Arabia. And we could say who the fuck knows about our commissions in America. I'm not ripping different countries. I'm just saying who the fuck knows. Do they have like this long-standing commission there? No. We have one here, and it's fucked up. So I'm telling you it's fucked up, right? They got the ref, the jab and grab ref. The jab and grab ref. And so that's perfect. So anytime it gets close, Joshua better hold on. That's all I'm going to say. Because on the inside, his defense lacks. On the outside, his defense will lack. It's that mid-range,
slowly but surely creeping to you. But Ruiz is not the guy. He's going to be in front of him, but he's pushing. He's using minor angles. He ducked that second left hook that AJ tried to land on him, ended up countering him. He can make adjustments in the ring. He was 105-5, I think, as an amateur. He's a better, more pedigreed fighter, I believe, if you include amateur and pro. I really do think that. I think he's a better inside fighter. Now, if he's too gung-ho for the knockout, that could be a problem. But I don't see. And Ruiz, when he has this guy hurt, he doesn't smother his punches. And you see him, he was very patient. I thought in the fourth round he may have been too patient. Like, dude, take him out. Take him out now. He's tired, dude. He took a deep breath that moment where he looked at him and took that deep breath and smiled at him. And it did kind of feel like he let him off the hook. But I think Ruiz is going to hurt him. And when he hurts him, the fight's going to change. And AJ will either go into I'm going to throw mode or I'm going to hug mode, or he's going to be – I think he's going to be stuck between styles. And the last thing you want to do is be stuck between styles with a guy with fast hands and combination punching. And I just don't believe he can move on the move the whole time and defending himself pretty much the whole time. I'm not sold he can do it. So, yeah, if this thing goes to the cards, AJ, no doubt about it. I would go over. I would definitely go over. I think I'm going to put money on over. I'm not trying to sell AJ short. It's just, to me, it's kind of the old cliche, styles make fights, and just something about him being able to duck under some shots, time that jab, be patient. I mean, Ruiz, considering how fucked up, AJ was, he was patient, but he was also a killer with him. And to me, I just think mentally when he gets hurt again and when he's in these moments, I just don't think he'll open up to land those clean shots as much as he would. And I think he's going to lose. I think he's going to get TKO'd. I guess if he knocked him down 3 times, 4 times, maybe he wouldn't. Maybe AJ wouldn't get the scorecard then. But look at Wilder. Wilder got the got a draw scorecard. He knocked him down twice, but most people thought that he lost, 8 rounds, 9 rounds, cleanly. I mean, he at least lost 8 minimum, and that still should get Fury the fight. So from a casual standpoint, I understand why people think the draw was fine, because they saw a guy almost get knocked out momentarily. It is what it is. We're not talking that fight anymore, but I think Ruiz is going to win. I feel like the style, the mental, I just don't think he's sharp like that. I don't think he can stay sharp the whole fight unless Ruiz is like just trying to knock him out. But why wouldn't he have shown I'm just going to spaz and try to knock somebody out when he had him so hurt a couple times? Why wouldn't he already shown that? He's going to be in better shape. It's not about losing weight, like I said earlier, for Ruiz. Yeah, he's going to come in a little lighter, but what he's working with is just packaged tighter now. He just put himself together a little bit. He just had a full camp, that's all. That's why you can see he looks light around the face, and he just looks thinner because it's not that he's losing a bunch of weight. It's the stuff is just more compact now. He's in good shape. I think it was smart that AJ lost the weight somewhat, whatever it's 6, 8, 9 pounds, whatever the hell it's going to be. I think he needs that, and that tells me his game plan, in my opinion. Now, maybe it was him just not bulking up with weights during camp, and he put that time into boxing. That's cool. I just don't think you could change your style if you haven't shown it for a full fight. Even Povetkin doesn't cut the ring off, though. He doesn't bring a bunch of pressure. I think it was a good example that I think Carcino brought it up. Same with 310. I've heard other people bring it up too. the short punching and all that, but he did break his nose really early in that fight. He didn't follow up totally on it, but I don't know. I'm just going to favor Ruiz by TKO. And then that's about it. There has been a lot of talk about the Wilder Ortiz pay-per-view numbers not being out. And, obviously we did have the holiday weekend. And, there's been other fights. I think it was Canelo Cotto. I think there were some other fights. I think Jake Donovan brought that up, that it did delay it. The thing is, nobody, they don't release these numbers. They don't just openly release them. People get, sources, and they go from there. You have, guys like Rick Glazer, going around, and this is a post that he said. He said, the PBC and Fox didn't release the Wilder-Ortiz rematch pay-per-view numbers. Well, they don't release any of these fucking numbers. Now, have they been leaked to someone potentially? Sure. But a lot of it is just being in the business. They've never – when you see sources from any of these reporters, it's never been like PBC sources told me, It's never been them releasing it directly to them or to the public. It's been sources say, that's what it's been. But Glazer went out there and said it did 138 buys. So he said it did lower than Crawford and Khan. And it's a bloodbath, and this, that, and the other. And he said that he predicted that it would do, when the fight got announced, he said it'd do 220,000 by fight week. He said it was dead on arrival, and he said it was 180. That's what he said, his guesstimates. But Glazer also said Showbox, Espinoza killed Showbox. But this was in 2014. This guy, I've personally, individually, rebutted to him multiple times. And he'll just come back and be like, oh, my bad, dude, I didn't even know that. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Well, what are you spreading all this shit for? There was a number out there that it was 2,500. Someone really thinks that they can put out a 2,500. You really think the pay-per-view did 2,500 buys? And the way it's made it sound like he thought it did under 100,000. But he's now officially come out and said, I know the numbers. And this guy is bullshit. And Bob Arum on the Boxing Voice actually called him out. Even Bob Arum, who the whole promoter thing, we've never gone to rival promoters and gotten sources on pay-per-views from them for a different company. That's something that's never happened. I shouldn't say never, but in the last 10 years, that's not a normal thing. And this whole fake news thing, to sources, sources say, well, I'll believe Coppinger, but I won't believe Woodsy. I'll believe him, but I won't believe him. And it never used to be that. There'd be a range of numbers, and that's what we get, and we move on. But when it comes to, of course, Al Haymon and PBC, they destroy, some good pay-per-views like Pacquiao Thurman to try to destroy that, and Spence and Porter. But then most of the time when these sources, not fake news now all of a sudden it's fake news. The sources were legit before the range, because we'd hear one guy do it, then the other guy, and you kind of mix it together and be like, all right, it's somewhere in between. That's how these things were figured out. If the company didn't release them, the only time, I said it earlier, the only time the company released them is when they set records and they want to brag to you. HBO stopped doing it. Showtime Espinoza stopped doing it as well. He said, unless we break records, we're not going to tell you. And that's been the way for a while. And it's just funny that because we don't have sources, technically if you look at the sources when they've come out later, it's because the number's been higher. I'm not saying that's the case. I'd probably say it's Thanksgiving, but because the holiday and that stuff gets delayed or whatever, but I've said it from the start, whether it does 150 or 250 or 350 whatever the fuck it does, the pay-per-view, or not the pay-per-view, but the amount of Wilder Ortiz, and especially Wilder, press that this got, the amount of times the commercial ran, the shoulder programming around the NFL, that's what's building his profile. And that's what's going to help sell the Fury Wilder fight, no matter what this does. But it is funny to me that someone literally put out a number trying to pass it off as 2,500. And people started saying, Glazer said it. He actually came on the Boxing Voice and couple other shows and said, no, I didn't say 2,500. Now he's saying 138. And Bob Arum even said 200 to 250. And that's from Woodsy asking him. But we don't normally get rival promoters who have a dog in the race commenting on, these are what the numbers are. We don't get that. So it's really funny that it's only starting to happen now, with this PBC stuff. Now the sources are fake. Before they were real, now they're fake. It's just funny. Now we're going to listen to Rick Glazer for information. He said that Showbox was dead in 2014. He went on a big campaign about that. This guy's even Bob Arum just aired his ass out saying, yeah, I know this guy, but not really. This guy doesn't know shit. He hasn't really done shit. He talks really well about Top Rank. He's done business with Don King and all that, but this dude doesn't know shit. He loves Facebook followers. Now, I'm not saying what the pay-per-view did either. I have no fucking clue. But this dude acts like he's had the number every time. And it's always way low. Always, every time. Now, maybe this did do 150. I don't know. But I just think it's funny that now the sources don't count. Anyway, I'm going to go to Portland, let him shut this puppy down. Portland, I can't wait to hear the music. Portland, 503, man. What is going on, buddy?
Hey, yo, what up, Chris? Hey, yo, man, hell yeah, brother. You know what I'm talking about? We have this fight. La gran pelea está aquí, tú ya sabes. Chris, the big fight is here, man, in Saudi Arabia. Holy shit. Man, this is going to be dope. 310 said it's going to be a dope night of fights. So, we got Andy Ruiz early, and then after that, you got the PBC later. So it's going to be dope, man. But yeah, man, I just want to talk about Andy Ruiz. You know how it is, and then another fellow Mexican, man, you know how it is, man. It's the year of the Mexican, you know what I'm talking about? So it's like, man, bro. So, and the year of the upsets too. And bro, I think Andy's gonna whip his ass. I think I truly believe Joshua. I always thought he never had any balls. He doesn't have dog in him. No tiene perro. Tú ya sabes que los mexicanos traen los huevos. Man, it's over for Joshua, man. And he's taking his money. It's. You know what I mean? I don't care. It's you know what I mean? It's like you can't hate on that. You know what I mean? It's like he's gonna get a fuckload, man. He's gonna get that that Saudi money, man. That's crazy. Crazy what kind of money they're throwing out for fighters, man. It's like retirement money plus generation retirement money, man. And but anyways, yeah, man. But yeah, it's fucking crazy, brother.
How's it gonna be play out? Are they both gonna hit the canvas again, or what's gonna happen? No, you know what I think is going to happen, man? I think, Josh is going to be on his back foot. He's going to be, just jabbing, pawn. And he's going to be pray to God that fucking referee is on his side, Fuck, man. But I think he's going to wear out. He could try to get skinny. He could try to lose all that weight. But, really, the only thing I really worry about Joshua is that he's got that big right, that straight right hand.
So, man, that's the only really thing to really worry about. I just don't think he's got, like, you know, like I said, I don't think he has heart. He doesn't have any gas. He doesn't have the gas tank to go fucking 12 rounds, especially when a guy is going to come forward to fight, you know what I mean, and make a fight out of it. So, you know, and then Andy, you know, he's young, hungry. Eddie Hearn fucked up by picking him in the first place, you know, and I truly believe it. You know, Eddie Hearn, you know, I really believe he doesn't really know what he's doing. Like, I like him and everything, but, like, man, he's been, like, kind of, I don't know, putting Chavez, you know, with Jacobs in Arizona after failing a drug test. You know, that's pretty shady, you know, but I don't know, you know what I mean? It's Eddie Hearn. That's kind of weird, but I don't know. Like I said, you know, I think they fucked up by picking him, and you know, it's just I think Andy Ruiz is just going to make it better, man. I think he's going to become the champion. We'll see if he goes back to PBC or DAZN. Let's see what kind of money DAZN throws at him, because it's going to be pretty nice after he wins. Holy shit, this is Saudi Arabia, man. It's nuts, man. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this fucking fight, bro. And you know,
I'm really
you know how it is,
bro.
Mexicans,
cannot
bro.
wait.
Yeah, bro, and it's early too, man. It's for us, man. What time is it at the West Coast? So it's early for you guys, and it's us for us. It's gonna be like by 2 or 1.
By 1. Yeah, they say the earliest is the ring walk, 12:45 your time.
Holy crap, man! Yeah, so that's gonna be pretty nice, bro. And then you got that, you know, like I said, you got the Charlo fight, and Hogan, man. Don't count Hogan out, man. You know, I like him. You know, like you said, you know. Earlier before that, I truly believe he did beat Munguia. So I'm with